Debbie Ward, it's Wednesday, and Pete Davis, of course, our sidekick and producer and sports raconteur extraordinaire. When's Holy Crap at Sports? Next coming up later today.
Later today, I slept in this morning.
Well, there, as you should. Plus, what the heck? It's not like there's, is there anything big after Georgia Tech? Really, nothing really astounding in the sports.
The big thing is all the New York experts want to move the Braves-Mets series somewhere else.
Right.
It's like that ain't happening, douchebags.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe it will. Who knows?
And it's big. I mean, it's Mets. So
it's huge. And, of course, they want to move it out of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Even that no-talent Robert Flores on MLB Network was going, well, there's no one going to be there at the stadium.
Yeah. Trust me.
He's the biggest moron on there. That's just absolutely astounding. All these shows, these national network shows, have the biggest doofuses.
Yeah.
And they just, year after year after year, it's the same doofuses, the Gary Danielsons, the Greg Amsingers. Over and over again, they shove these no talents down our throats.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's because they're just broadcasters and not, or personalities, but not people that we can relate. I don't know. There's something off.
There's people out there with plenty of talent that could do those shows.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, the people who run those networks are just lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's done it over here. Well, we'll hire him over here too. But he sucks.
Yeah, I guess. I don't understand it. I have a hard time. When I was retired, my favorite thing always would be I never missed a couple of sports centers. I never missed a couple of things that were on. This is back in the mid 2000s. And all of a sudden, what happened? All of a sudden, everything's different. Everything's changed. I can't watch.
Mediocre.
I mean, it's just God.
It's like they've dragged everybody down to a mediocre level of just it's homogenous.
I guess social media
boring
has lowered the bar for what used to be left of where the only
everybody's
other way we used to get our stuff.
Everybody's afraid. Like what's his face? What the golfer? The Irish guy, the Irish expert golf.
Oh yeah,
David Feherty.
Feherty
says he was afraid to say anything.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Holy Crap at Sports. Later on, we'll talk. I got a bunch of sports things here I want to talk about, including. Myles Garrett.
I doubt he plays.
Holy moly! Well, anyway, and
what was he driving?
Well, don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me. And Flounder, the mechanical mangler at the controls here at El Condo. Flounder, how's Kitty Cat? We saw the video of him almost jumping on the counter to see the TV.
He's doing good. He's definitely roaming around the place more, so he's starting.
Does he seem happy and content?
Yeah, definitely.
Is he purring? Does he let you pet him, or does he go to you?
All the time, yeah.
So are you bonding then properly?
Absolutely. Like when I come home, I'll sit with him and pet him, and he'll come and cuddle with me. So he's
that's what.
Does he greet you at the door?
No, because when I leave for the morning, I have everything in my room. Because I'm not ready for him to be out there for like 8-9 hours because it's not cat proofed yet.
Right.
But I mean, when I'm here, I just leave that door open.
Yeah.
And the only room that's off limits is this one, just because of all the cords.
Well, people are clamoring for more kitty videos. So if
I will upload one right now.
Really, that would be great. In fact, I just got some video. I'll put it on later on the podcast page from Sarah. It was Brady's birthday yesterday, and I sent him. I had already given. I got him for his birthday his push scooter that he was fooling around with. But as a trinket, I sent him a couple things, including a really heavy, thick, solid
brass knuckles.
Marine Corps folding knife. And weighs about 3 pounds.
I was going to joke you got him a Bowie knife and you got him a damn knife.
Got a Marine Corps knife and a challenge coin or stuff like that. But I also I sent Molly a pack of her favorite Doritos. I packed it in the bag. And I also sent along another chew toy for Wilson, the doggy, who had all those videos of him ripping up the one I brought him the last time I went out there. And so I got him a new one, and it was a pig. They're going oink, 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 like that, which is really obnoxious as hell. So they're going to go nuts listening to him chew the crap out of it. And the reason I did it was because when Jennifer was born, we for some reason started calling her Big Mouse. We called her our little mouse, and she became Big Mouse. When Sarah was born, for some reason she became Piglet. And she had little drawings of piglets, and she had little statues of piglets, and she had piglet collection all her life. And so when I saw the pig chew toy for Wilson in the store, I grabbed it immediately. So anyway, that was kind of fun, and I'll put those videos up.
There's a great video out that shows it's a Christmas time, and there's a girl sitting on the floor with this dog, and a mutt, whatever. And he's watching her. She's unwrapping a package. Obviously, it's a dog toy, but he don't know that. So she's unwrapping this thing. He's looking at it, looking at her. No big deal. And she opens up, and it's a big bone, big plastic bone to chew on, something like that. And he stops. And he realizes it's a bone, and he stops moving, and looks at it. Then looks up at her like, "Is this mine?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's yours." And the first thing he does is he gets up on his paws and he kisses her. And the face like, "Oh, thank you. I got a gift."
Oh, my God.
And then he reaches down and takes the bone.
Oh, I wonder how they pulled that off.
It was like he's looking at, and all of a sudden he just, that one trained. It was just like, he's like, this is for me? You know, it was like a kid.
Cool. That's so cool. It was a TV ad? I don't remember.
No, it's a YouTube video.
Oh. It's like one of those Reels things I got on my phone. Those
Probably.
Animal things. I love those. I watch them all.
Anyway, it's a rabbit hole that you'll fall down.
I know. And all of a sudden you start swiping and getting them all.
And it's 3 hours later. It's 3 hours later.
Yeah, like our friend Wade, who sent us, just even sent a little message the other day, and he said, "This is the Kimmer. Hey, do you mind if I tell you guys a quick something for a second?" And then 2 hours later, the Kimmer's still talking. So it was one of those, which is true. I'll try to be less me here on the podcast. I'm sorry. Speaking of TV things, have you seen something called the Contour Swan? Contour Swan. And it must have been, I watch Fox News when I'm doing my podcast stuff every morning. I have it in the background, and I saw this ad, so it must have been on Fox. Maybe I was watching something else, but it's funny, which is rare. But anyway, so I know it's out there. And it's the first time I had seen it, and the Contour Swan is a pillow. And it's a round, it looks like a pillow that's about, like maybe 8 inches or so round, and it's like a candy cane or a question mark or a hook. Okay. And the key, it shows, first of all, it says, the new Contour Swan, this will help you stop your snoring. And it says, a guy says, hey, it's really helped me stop snoring. It's a pillow that you can adjust kind of to sleep into, sort of like, if it's like a question mark, you can kind of get in the middle of it and hook around you. And okay. So, but then what they really show is a woman, an attractive woman in her nightwear, clinging to this Contour Swan. The part of it is wrapped around her neck, and she is twisting with her leg wrapped around
the
is
Contour.
This thing? It's like 6 feet long.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that. Okay.
I mean, it's like a 6-foot pillow, and it has a big hook on it, and the hook you put around your neck, and you lay on your side, and she's cuddling it with her arm, and her leg is wrapped around the leg of the contour of the pillow. Okay. I mean, she's cuddling and humping her nighttime partner while her husband's over on the other side of the bed.
Okay, at some point the husband's like, okay, you need to get on your side of the bed. Because, if you want to sleep, there's nothing more irritating than someone who's touching you.
Well,
unless you don't want to sleep.
Unless you don't, unless there's something else. But anyway, it was so funny because it's like a full body with her leg wrapped centrally around, clinging and loving to this body. It's like the Japanese body pillow.
Does it vibrate?
I don't know. I was afraid to look up too much of the commercial. But I saw it, and she's in like a loving pose, and she's, she's just canoodling. And I'm thinking, God, this is another guy. We don't really need you guys. We don't really, you're not really in the picture. And I thought, this is, and it was very sensual. I mean, it was not like, this will help you stop snoring. Yeah, my ass. It was because your girl is humping her pillow because she doesn't need you anymore because this thing's wrapped around her the way she likes it.
They're grooming her for the robot lover that's coming down.
That's next.
But it's kind of like when you get the Hammacher Schlimmer Christmas catalog and you're going through all the crazy drones and the toys, and all of a sudden you see this vibrator, and they said, look, it's a female massager.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a vibrator.
It's a neck massager. Remember the one issue of Mad Men had that sort of a heating pad thing for women, but it was a vibrating machine. Anyway, I thought that was fairly bizarre. No sense having a man around anymore. Flounder apologized the other day, realizing he forgot to put on Facebook Live last time on Monday.
Big dummy.
And the reason for that?
I just didn't hit the play button.
The other reason for that.
You're playing with...
There's a pussy running around the house, and it threw him off entirely.
But the funny thing is we were joking about this at work about how I have a pussy at home. But the thing is my pussy has a penis, so it's really kind of just awkward because the cat's a boy.
Yeah,
I think we should have warned the
I got a
listeners.
feeling we're going to edit this part out of the podcast.
Oh no, not at all.
But what Sophia says, Kimmer needs a date or at least a pillow.
So. I do need a date or a pillow. Yeah, that'll be the day.
Well, there's always Tinder. Go on Tinder. That's what
How
it's
can
for.
I go on Tinder?
There's Tinder for seniors, right? What's it called?
Yeah.
What's a seniors Tinder
and
called?
who are the women who are going to be attracted to me on
You
Tinder?
know what? You want to know who they are?
Yeah, who?
Go to Johnny's Hideaway.
Yeah, there you are. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's got a Marlboro dangling from the side of her lips.
baby.
Hey, come here, honey. Yeah, get over here. I gotta see some dancing. All right, yeah.
wanna take my
Yeah,
picture?
that's what I need.
Hey, honey. They're like Marge Simpson's sisters. Yeah. Hey, honey.
Yeah, that's
like
what
Marge
I need.
Schott, you know?
No question about it. Anyway, we are. Oh, and by the way, a reminder. Okay, well, first of all, we'll talk about hurricane. We'll talk about President child molester. We've got tons and tons of issues on the pipeline blowing up and whether that's sabotage and direct leading to nuclear war. They're now talking about another. Here we go. Fetterman's lumpy neck and his attitude are coming up from the Onion. I got a little thing here for you. The White House wants the Braves to change our name.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my opinion to
Yeah.
you. All you Washington,
Thank
New
you
York,
so
LA.
much.
Fuck all of you.
Exactly. Leave us alone.
And you know what? If they manage to get the name changed, I
It'll
ain't
be
saying
over.
the damn name.
Yeah.
The name will be the Braves till
Yeah.
I die.
Yeah. The same way it's still the Cleveland Indians, as far as I'm concerned. I can't say Commanders or whatever. Or is that the
Guardians.
football team?
I've actually
Guardians.
gotten around to saying Guard. Indians was wrong from the beginning. But if you call someone a brave or a chief,
Yeah.
that's actually that tribute.
Yeah, it is a tribute.
That's not
warrior,
an insult.
A warrior is hardly a
That's a-
denigration of the Indian.
It's a
tribes.
compliment.
Yeah.
But to call someone an Indian when they weren't really Indians,
Yeah,
I can
true.
see.
Well, and the other thing with them, they had
And the Redskins was racist.
Stupid. They had this cartoon face guy too, which was
Well, they
really
got rid of
offensive.
Chief Wahoo. They
Yeah,
got rid
so,
of him.
anyway, whatever. But
The Braves
but again,
used to have
well,
one.
my point was we'll talk about actual hard issues. Also, Twitter taking on Deadpool 3. Now, you guys, I don't really know about the Deadpool series is like you do, but we'll talk about it. Also, Bortz mentioned this in his commentary this morning as we laid this track down on Wednesday, the 28th of September, about the human resources people in Atlanta are now trying to put convicts in a protected class. For many ways, which is in many ways it makes
Another
sense.
reason
In
to get
other
out of
ways,
Atlanta.
it doesn't. Yeah. Also, the top 100 TV shows of all time.
We're gonna do all 100 already.
We're going to do about like 80 of them. No,
God.
all right, hold on. One more thing. Talk amongst yourselves.
Kimber blowing his nose. Brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets, closetpro.net. We wish he would go in the closet to do that, but he
Thank you.
doesn't.
Sorry.
404-255-0589 is the number to call if you want your closet messed with. Now the cat is out
Yeah.
of the closet now.
He's out of the closet.
But if you have a cat that likes to go into the
Right.
closet, Atlanta Custom Closets is you will come over
Right.
and fix that baby up. You could live in the
you
closets
could
after they're
live
through.
in the closet. We're not making that up. Anyway, thank you so much. And again, if you'd like to be a sponsor, go to thekimmershow.net.
Or don't just write me. If you want to be a sponsor, write me directly. Go to PeteDavis1@yahoo.com, and that way you're getting directly
Even
to the
better.
source, and we'll go right to it.
PeteDavis1@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
In fact, we should probably put that up on the beginning of the thing, too, if they
please
want to.
don't.
Is that Facebook page? Okay. Sorry, Flounder.
Please don't.
He's got shit to do over there. Come on. All right. Well, that's
Busy
we're
man.
good. Now, do we have? So we got a bunch of newsy things to talk about, and did I send you a song request thing for later on in the? Okay, we'll do that. It's kind of just a little silly thing. So we have newsy stuff, personal stuff. Anything new on you guys since last we met?
I'm looking forward to those pigs in a blanket I'm going to make tomorrow.
Oh, did you
Tonight,
get
actually,
Did you
tonight.
get the roll things?
Oh, yeah, I got
Now,
it.
what kind of do you do?
I just
crescent
get the
rolls?
ordinary biscuit. My mother used to use the biscuit, the crescent. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's too fancy for me. I want the Pillsbury Doughboy in regular
The crescent
biscuits.
rolls, right? Is that what you're
No,
talking about?
biscuits. I just wrap them in biscuits. It's very simple.
Okay.
No fancy French
All right.
crescent
Well, now
rolls.
let me ask you this. So, in other words, instead, if we, pigs in a blanket are you take a crescent roll and you wrap it around the hot dog. Okay. So instead, you do biscuit like the regular Grand's biscuit stuff, and then but they're round. So how do you get the hot dog in there? Do you cut it in half and put both of them in there, or what?
You spread it out
spread
like
it out
you're
and
a
roll it
French
around?
pizza Italian
Okay.
pizza guy. You spread it out, then you put it in the little groove,
Yeah.
and then you squeeze it
Okay.
around.
So in
it.
other words, you're doing the same thing that a crescent roll does, but it's a different. Is it a
I don't
different
like
batter?
the flavor of crescent roll.
That's what
gives.
I was sort of
Yeah.
getting to. Whether that, and I've got, in fact, I have in my refrigerator. By golly, I'm going to do this today
What?
on the way home. I'm buying hot dogs. Now, for the record, for some reason, I don't like beef hot dogs.
Get you the Nathan's skinless. The skinless Franks, the
Yeah.
Nathan's.
I don't like the
They
skin
have
on
a
hot dogs.
great taste.
Can you get them at the store?
Oh hell, at Publix, Kroger,
Right,
everybody has
but I
them.
realize I don't really like beef hot dog. When they but the fact of the matter is, hot dog's a hot dog, and that's what I like.
Turkey, it all tastes the same.
Yeah,
but you know, Nathan's French fries are the best damn frozen French fries. It's the
Yeah, but
best.
they never come out crispy and.
Yeah,
and
if you
for-
get a goddamn air fryer, they will.
you
I
and your air
promise you,
fryer.
they will
Blow me
come
with
out-
your air
Cha-ching,
fryer.
cha-ching.
Yeah, I'll spend some
We
more
gotta
money
get you a
on
sponsor.
shit for my kitchen.
Who makes air fryer? Who doesn't?
I've still got.
I think Honda now
I've
makes
still
them.
got to replace my plastic gravy bowl thing I used to use. Anyway, I'm going to do that tonight, but I'll do it. And I have in my refrigerator some Grand's biscuits, and I'll try that. I'll
Those
bet
are
will be
big.
great.
The big ones you don't
Yeah.
even really have to mold.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you could chop. In fact, you could do the biscuit, cut it in half, and chop up the hot dog into pieces and put it inside the middle
Well,
like a sandwich.
And I still haven't figured out how she did this. She had some kind of sausage, and they were little bitty thing, almost like cocktail wieners, but
Yeah.
they weren't. And she'd wrap it in dough. She'd squeeze off a part of a biscuit and wrap it up. And those were the best things ever. And I've
like
yet
deep
to
fry
figure
them,
out.
or what? Bake them or what?
No, the same as a pig in a blanket, but it was a little bitty miniature one.
I'll be damned.
And it was the best tasting. You could eat them like popcorn.
Well, we used to have a place growing up called the Hot Dog Ranch, and they were the little 2-inch hot dogs, and you get about 15 of them, and they
It
were
wasn't
great.
Eckrich sauce. It was some
Oh.
kind of brand that I guess maybe they don't even make anymore.
I don't think I wonder
Brian
if they're
or
at
something.
one of the specialty places in the store or something for
It was
exotic
it was
Jewish
like-
food or something. Anyway, I will try that tonight. I'm very excited
Because
about
it's
it.
cold.
What's that?
Because it's kind of chilly. It's perfect
Yeah,
food.
it's kind of chilly. You're not kidding.
66.
I said, well, I don't want to turn on the heat. I don't I want to turn because that smell that starts, and now you have to have it checked, and I probably set the place on fire, and I just don't want to deal with it. I'm just not ready. I got more shit going on in that place that I need to fix, and I don't want to call the guy who owns it because then he's likely to come over there, and I don't want him in the place. So I'm kind of just you have no idea the kind of stuff I makeshift doing just so that I don't
Why
have
do
to
I
call
get
a
the feeling
maintenance guy.
that your apartment is kind of like when the cops walked into Jeffrey Dahmer's place and went, "What the?"
Well, when that cop knocked on my door unexpectedly and wanted to look around to see if there was somebody in trouble in my place because of a 911 call that came to my address for some reason, and I let him in, and he was looking around going, "Holy Jesus!"
By
Anyway,
the way, do you remember how they caught Dahmer?
Yeah, was he going for a walk or something like that?
it wasn't the kid that came out of the house. A kid got away,
that's-
ran out
that's
of the
what I'm
house
thinking
naked.
of. Yeah,
the cops let him go back to the house, but how he got caught, I don't remember.
According to the show
Was
on
it the
Netflix,
smell? Next door neighbor
Well, the
smell?
neighbor was complaining about the smell. He brought a black man home from the gay bar and tried to kill him, basically. And he escaped and ran down, and he found some cops, and he still had the what do you call those, handcuffs on.
Oh, wow.
And so the cops kind of believed him. He still had the handcuffs on.
Yeah.
So he brought him back. First of all, if I'm the guy, I'm not going back to Thomas' apartment,
Yeah.
even with two cops.
Yeah.
But they brought him back. And the cop walked in. He turned to the black guy and goes, "You want to come in?" He goes, "Hell no, I don't want to come in there." So he goes in there. And Dahmer goes, "It just got out of hand. We're homosexuals. And it's just, we know how to play games. And it just got out of hand.
Yeah.
It's no big deal." And the cops are walking around going, "What's that smell?" And he goes, "Oh, it's my pork chops went bad." So anyway, he's walking around. And by the way, in the corner of his bedroom, there's a vat that's sealed
vat.
up. A vat. There's something in
There's
that vat.
something in the vat. Yeah.
Okay. And the cop kind of looks at it.
People
but
don't have vats in their bedroom.
no, it's like a big barrel. Big barrel. So he's walking around and he goes, "Where's the handcuff key?" And Dahmer's mistake basically was saying he should have
in
had
the
it with him
refrigerator?
because he knew they were coming up. He should have had it. He goes, "It's in the bedroom." The cop goes in the bedroom. He goes, "Where is it?" He goes, "It's in the drawer by the bed." So he opens it up and goes, "Oh, here it is." And the cop pulls the thing out. And he looks back down in the drawer and there's Polaroids. And he picks that, and Dahmer goes, "Oh, that's just gay stuff. That's just gay stuff." And he picks it up. Yeah, and it was like he's taking photos of guys, right? And then about the third one, there's a headless guy. And then the fourth one, it's a guy in the bathtub that's basically been de-ribbed.
Gutted or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then he's like,
jeez.
and the cop goes, "Oh my God, these are real."
Oh my God.
And I had to turn it off at that point.
And
I couldn't
did
take
they
it
open
anymore.
the refrigerator and found a head? Or
They
whatever
probably
stuff
will
in there?
find the head at some
Yeah.
point.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Ay, ay, ay. I love it. Oh, let's see.
Always
Where was
keep your
it?
headless corpse photos under lock and key.
Yeah, that would. That was always my mistake. It'll never happen again. I can tell you that. And the next time my doorbell rings, I start covering up shit before I go to get it. like an idiot. I'm going to go, oh, crap, it's a cop. And they're all, crap. I can't let this cop in. How am I going to get out of this? No, you can't come in?
It has been so long since someone knocked on my door. It will probably scare the crap out of me if someone does it.
When it happened. Last time it happened. No, people don't knock on doors anymore. Go see neighbors
I don't
anymore.
get trick-or-treaters. I don't get
I get nothing.
Anybody knocked on my neighbor's the last person 2 years ago knocked on my door. 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. A couple things I got. Do we have any interest in this? I got in the mail your invitation to a Yale opinion study. They've chosen me, small number of people, Yale University research, opinions of people in Georgia on important issues, voluntary survey, eligible to participate in follow-up surveys, will pay you $2 gift card from Amazon. Takes 10 minutes. Response is confidential and will not be any sensitive personal information. And I have to go on my computer or smartphone to go to yalesurvey.org or whatever and participate. And there's a scanning code thing if I want. Do we have an interest in it? You have an interest in that kind of a thing?
No.
I don't, only because I don't want to sign up for anything for people that send me something to sign up on something on the internet.
Nope.
Right? I mean, that's just good policy, right?
Yep.
Okay. All righty.
Bula bula, Yale.
Just a quick in passing.
By the way, that Yale.
Bula bula.
Your whole life you hear about Yale. And I've been to Harvard. Harvard's nice. It's a nice part of town.
Oh, yeah. Harvard's a beautiful campus.
Curious George store. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I went to Yale in New Haven.
Yeah. New Haven is not your
shithole.
Yeah, you go through a lot of Connecticut. Is really, you keep driving, just don't even stop. Basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, when you're going down the interstate and you see, I mean, it's not anything you really want to.
Basketball's in Massachusetts.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
Springfield.
But as you're going from there into Connecticut, don't go on that road. It's just there's
Mohegan
nothing.
Sun's nice.
Yeah. Well,
they're
resorts.
nice.
Well, they're
Northern
resorts.
Connecticut is
Indian
nice.
resorts and gambling.
Northern,
and
but the
stuff,
closer you get to the beach by the nuclear plant, the less pretty it gets.
Anyway, the
But
Connecticut.
Yale, and the campus is fine, but it's in the middle of. I'm trying to think what other schools are like. Georgia Tech.
Hello. They got rid of the varsity.
Yes.
Did they get rid of that varsity?
No, they have not gotten rid of the
Okay,
varsity.
I
That's
thought
a
they did.
rumor.
That's the first one we ever went to the varsity as a family, and well,
Y'all got sick at the same time.
It was horrible.
The first time I ever went, when I was a kid, my dad took me, and they scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, it was.
What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah,
What do you have? What do you have?
The woman was yelling at. I tried to get some.
Mine first one was down in Midtown. We were on a school field trip or something like that. Because remember when you went into the city, you go to the Center for Puppetry Arts or whatever, and we went to the varsity, and I was like, where the hell are we? Because there's that huge parking lot that there, and there's different entrances, and I was like,
it's
overwhelmed.
Very bizarre. Anyway,
and I hate the orange slushies.
Yeah, the orange. I
They're
don't know why
gross.
people like that orange stuff.
Same
it's
here.
horrible.
It's gross.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I don't know.
I don't know why people
drink
like
any of
that so
stuff.
much. I don't know.
Thank you, Deerfield Dentistry. Went in yesterday and they redid my whole three implanted my $20,000 mouth. And by the way, ladies, it is worth it. But seriously, and I also have a new whitening kit. I'm going to try that and see how it works. And it's supposed to be better than the store. And it comes with individual trays, and they're already packed in. You just put them in the thing, pull off the top part, leave it in half hour.
Take a photo every day so it shows.
Well,
whether
I
it's
took
getting
one
better.
at the original, and I'll wait and I'll do it eventually. I think it probably works. I don't think it's like, sparkling white like Diana Ross white or something.
You
but
also Clorox. You dip your finger in Clorox.
I don't think I'll be
works,
dipping
too.
my finger in Clorox. The last time oh God, that's what they used when they were doing a simulated bomb attacks on us at Paris Island. They came in with a bottle of bleach into the shower and threw it against the wall and broke it. So the fumes we're all screaming. Oh Jesus! Anyway, sorry, Phil. I didn't mean to talk about military stuff.
You guys have a weird way of having a good Saturday night, you Marines.
Well, there was. You don't want to know about Paris Island anyway. So my teeth are great, and I've also gained like 6-7 pounds now, and I'm still not in shape, but I'm kind of getting a little bit back to normal.
But you're
Although
like
I
that
don't
girl.
want
You're like that girl in the ads. I gained 30 pounds and I'm pumped.
Anyway, that's good. And tomorrow I get my new my ear rockets back. It's been a couple of weeks since we sent those
can
back.
rebuild him.
I'm a piece at a time.
$6 million man.
Next, I got to go. My eyes are going. I got to go to the eye doctor again and get some. I probably just need glasses. I was hoping. Now what I had. Now were you talking about cataracts or was that?
Oh, my last thing I did a month ago. She says you have the very beginnings of a very small, and it's probably going to be years for you to have to worry about.
That's what my situation was with the early cataracts, age appropriate. It was no fine. It wasn't a big deal. But he said, at some point, and I said, well, let's go do it. And when I had him out, again, this was, 5-6 years ago, maybe something like that. At that point in my life, I needed reading glasses to read the paper and small print books and stuff like that. I used reading glasses, and not prescription glasses, but just drugstore reading glasses. After I had the cataract surgery, I no longer needed reading glasses. I could see small print because they put lenses in there. And one is long and one is far, and but I'm telling you, when they take it out, they whatever they did, and it was a miracle. And I still can read fine print. Although lately, really fine print, I'll use these because it does make a difference. But I can still read the newspaper without eyeglasses. Although it's starting to get worse. And my question, hold your thought. The question was, do I just go and just get some freaking glasses? Or do I want to have some more surgery of some kind to see if I can keep my? Because again, I'm 3.5 years away from 80, so it's not like I need to try to keep my youthful capacities. Just get the freaking glasses. It's not like I care about how I look. Like I used to wear them my whole life. So, but anyway, I don't know. I need to get an eye check because I'm squinting a lot, and clearly it's starting to fade.
What I was going to say is that this whole spiel you just gave about how you don't need glasses or you don't need this and everything. That's the pickup lines you will use at Johnny's Hideaway.
I can drive at night. You need a ride home, girls? I got a car. You can drive after dusk.
That would be a funny bit for a comedian. As you age, your pickup lines change. You go from I have a schlong that's instead of walking up with a zucchini in the grocery store saying mine's bigger like an Animal House. At your age, you go to Johnny's Hideaway and go, hey babe, I can drive at night.
I can drive after 10 p.m.
I can see the small print on this menu.
That's right. I can see the street signs. Anyway, so I'm definitely all set. Okay, some newsy stuff. The hurricane. As we speak, it's Wednesday. The hurricane's going to hit Florida this afternoon. Actually, as we speak, it's probably starting. And Georgia will get some kind of rain and wind in the next couple days, although the forecast...
It'll smell like the sea.
And, we've gone through this before. How bad it'll get, who knows, because the hurricane is basically a Cat 5, which is over 150 miles an hour. Now. It's a 4, but it's 155 miles an hour. A Category 5 is 157. So what's the difference? It's basically...
11 Alive last night I watched. She said the European model has us getting 3 inches here in Atlanta. And the American model has less than an inch. So
okay, well, again, we'll see it. Well, and again, what happens when it gets on the land? It slows down, and sometimes it moves faster or slower going in one direction.
Slow now.
And it's slow now. So if it stays here and pounds the boom, it's over.
And follow Neil Boards because, from what I understand, it's going to hit Naples square on.
Yeah.
And
that's
where
right
he
now.
is.
I think the last map I saw was about to hit Naples this afternoon, as we
speak. They have the Bortz bus, so they literally can just pick it there.
But I think he's going to stay up in the high.
He said he's parked up in his upper garage level or something. He's riding it out. My parents had a place in Bonita Springs. We used to go down there, and they spent the winters down there.
Someone had a great meme yesterday. Says, all you people down in Florida with electric cars, you needed to start 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take you 3 days with that electric car to get to South Georgia.
Yeah. Did they ever factor that in? If a national emergency happens, what do they do?
You got 300 miles, and you got to wait in line for somebody to help you charge your car.
Which is going to take 8 hours.
Well, in fact, speaking of that, President Child Molester, as you know, has been selling the America's emergency reserves of oil, which are supposed to be used for this if we have an emergency and a disaster and
doing it on purpose.
He's doing it on purpose to try to keep the price of gas down for political purposes.
And crash the system.
He's deliberately selling off our emergency supplies to try to help him politically to keep the price of gasoline down. He's artificially adjusting. This is government interference at its highest immediate direct level, and it's still $4.50 a gallon or whatever. So,
and think about how much higher it's going to get.
Well, it's only going to get worse. Anyway, there's some of the
However,
storm things.
We're lucky because it's only going up Florida. It's not going toward Texas and Louisiana, so
Right,
it shouldn't
not in the
affect the
Gulf.
gas and oil that much.
Hurricanes going into the Gulf can be
they're the bad
Now, Florida's worried about the cost of food because of the agriculture damage. There could be a lot of
Oranges.
there could be a lot of impact, but it's a hurricane, so we've gone through this before. My kids saw a dead body in New Orleans from a hurricane.
Brian Williams.
No, it's true. They were, in fact, I was going to pick them up from school, and some people, had to be. I think they were watching a boat go by and getting a body out of the water. Something I forgot. It's unbelievable.
In other words, Thursday in New Orleans.
Yeah. And by the way, and down when I was retired and lived in South Florida, Palm Beach Gardens, the PGA National, which is on the eastern coast, South Florida. It's it's between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. That's where I was, South Florida. And the problem is in this time of year. After about October 1st, it's beautiful. South Florida or Florida, from October 1st to April 15th is really wonderful. I mean, it's just there are very few problems and stuff after the hurricane season, but in the summertime or even this time of year, it's just brutal. Stormy, pounding rain every day and wind. I mean, you can't drive, you can't do anything. It's just horrible. But they're prepared and they do the swimming. Now, although they used to have hurricane parties, I haven't heard about a lot of those anymore. But people started dying, and I think people are taking it a little more seriously. Shelter in place.
Darwinism.
Yeah. Now, President Pedophile. I think we'll get that soundbite, if you will, Flounder. President Pedophile has been very clear. We admire this man so much for his courage and his strength and his discipline to be the leader of the American people. Here now is President Pedophile of the United States, who is assuring us he's going to talk about this hurricane and give us some advice that will save our lives. This is a man now who is completely in charge. He knows the basic issues of survival. He's been there before, and here he is telling us how we can all live and how he suggests we get through this hurricane together, if you will, sir.
Let me be clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated and a hurricane or natural disaster hits.
What the?
What
Jesus,
bullshit.
I mean, come on.
You know why he's saying this? Do you realize that they rolled out this latest one?
The new vaccine
a
for
month ago.
5-month-olds.
No, about a month ago. Guess what? Only 2% of Americans have gotten it.
Nobody's going to keep doing. I mean, this is
2%.
In fact, there's a meme going around about this.
You sheep are not following the herd.
It's just there's a great meme going around of Will. What's his name? Who's that guy? The actor.
Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell, the actor. And it's a 2-screen. Meme, and the top screen says Florida right now, and it shows the winds havocing, blowing trees and water in Florida right now. Down below, it's Will Ferrell screaming, "Democrats, what are Ian's pronouns?" The pronouns for the hurricane. This is perfect example, sarcastically, of what the Democrats are doing. How in the world would that stupid, brain-dead pedophile think that getting vaccinated is the issue of a hurricane? I mean, really?
Doesn't that tell you where his priorities are?
God, the same reason we were talking. I think we were, before we got on the air, talking about he was at a meeting where a congresswoman was not there, and she was part of the sponsorship of the bill, and he said, well, she couldn't be here today because she was dead, and he didn't know or forgot that she was dead. And instead of offering condolences to the family and friends and constituents of this remarkable woman whose achievements for the American people, he said she couldn't be here. Jesus.
I can just see that. He's like, where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? And someone off camera yells, she's dead!
Yeah, she died!
Why am I out of the loop? Where's my memo?
What a numbskull. I mean, every single day there's something like this. it's way far worse than humiliating. I mean, it's offensive and un-American.
The future will look back at us and go,
"Oh my
the
God.
doddering fools at every level we had running this place."
We knew it was going to happen because big tech and the media allowed him to stay in the basement and he never came out. He never was interviewed. He never had to, put it on the line. And when he did, he said, "Oh, that's just Joe telling people to calm down. He's
Uncle
not Trump
Joe.
anymore. He's not Orange Man." And he got away, and it worked. It was the most vicious, hate-filled, divisive, cynical way to run a president's campaign. The most cynical, devious, kind of
Offhand.
I mean, just cynical and devious is the way, like trying to trick us. Say, if we do this, we'll fake them all out, and it worked. It worked beautifully, and in conjunction with it was the whole Russian collusion thing with Trump. It was a two-headed sword, and it worked beautifully. They nailed Trump with a phony media, fake stories of Russian collusion, and hiding Biden from the reality. And between the two, it was perfect. It came together at just the right time. He won, and Trump was humiliated and embarrassed to them, and was prevented from being successful. And they got Biden in. It was a two-pronged approach, and both of them worked beautifully, to our disgrace. Anyway, now let me ask you about this business on the Nord Stream pipe. There are pipelines going under the Baltic Sea. I guess they're mostly private. They're not Russian companies, but Russia has some investments in them. I think so does Germany. France might. I mean, they're like private companies that have investments in these pipelines, as I understand it. I guess are they natural gas or gasoline? Both gasoline.
I think
and natural
they're
gas.
oil and gas.
I think there are three of them, so they're probably everything. But it's an energy pipeline, a gas and natural gas
There's one
pipeline.
for olive oil too.
Could be in there
Italy.
too. And somebody blew them up. Somebody had an explosion in the sea, which showed up on seismographs. So it wasn't whale farts. It was somebody blew up an explosion, and it ruptured these pipelines, which I don't think were actually running anyway, or running at very low capacity. But still, somebody blew up these energy pipelines, and I started hearing this last night and again this morning. They're talking about the possibility of having another nuclear war. Because everybody's, we're claiming Russia did it. Ukraine's claiming Russia did it. Russia's claiming we blew it up. I know. But again, here's another thing. And I don't know. I'm not really sure what the significance is. I don't know how I'm hearing media people saying, well, we could lead us into a nuclear war because of the energy supplies under the. And I don't understand that. I mean, is this another distraction? Do you have an opinion on this business?
Europe's entire strategy about this whole energy thing is they're praying, and the few that still pray over there, for a mild winter. Because if they have a rough winter, people are going to die.
Yeah, and they brought it upon themselves, too. I mean,
Right now, the British small businesses are going out of business right and left because they cannot afford their energy bill. They went from like £2,000 to £20,000 almost overnight.
I saw a report that the energy costs are up 400%.
Yep. And they have all that oil and gas there at the North Sea, and it's just sitting there.
400. That's four. If your energy bill is $100, it's now $400. If it's $1,000, it's now $4,000. I mean, that's serious.
I complain because mine went from 30 to 190 because I ran the air conditioner a lot this summer.
I mean, I think my bill is like $60 or $70, and then it goes to $150
but
or $180 or something.
If it went 400%.
Oh my God. I mean, who
set price? Since I lived here for a year, Georgia Power, I have a set rate.
Lucky and locked into one of those.
Okay, there's a great meme out. Remember Breaking Bad? Remember the big black guy that worked for Saul?
And
there's a scene where he's laying down on top of a pile of cash.
Yeah, well, he and
what was his name? Huck or so? I
never watched it.
But anyway, he's laying on this pile of cash, and the meme says, everybody who locked in a 2% rate in 2021.
Yeah, right. There you are. Thank God. Yeah, and the comedian I like, but who's now shaved bald, used to be redhead, now shaved head. He was the actor.
Carrot Top.
No, the funny one. Oh God.
He's got a nose and freckles.
Oh, no.
What the?
He's Bill Burr. Bill Burr. The scene was Bill Burr and the fat black guy laying on the money when they were giving it to in the storage shed.
Okay.
That's what
what was his name? Hurl or Burl?
Hurl? Something like that.
Yeah, he's from Louisiana.
Dural or Burl or something. I can't remember. You're right. It's very close. That's very close. We could probably look it up somehow.
No.
Anyway. All right, coming up, Hunter had a hooker. Hunter had his own Fang Fang. Did you know about that? No. Also, Federlump is apparently showing off that he can still be a proper United States senator if he's elected, despite what's going on with his head and that big lump in the back of his neck.
Huel.
That's
Thank you,
what it was.
Scooter. By the way, Scooter has a question for you.
I'm looking at it right now.
All right.
Is it about the comments?
No, the Scooter has a question for him.
I was like,
He says his son Lucas turned 13 today. Where the hell's his pony?
That was so much fun when he went back on the radio and just quicker at it when the kids would call in, and of course the parents are putting it up to it. And the guy said, "Hey, Kimmer," I said, "How you doing, Lucas?" And he just talked about something. As parents wanted to be funny on the radio, so at the end I would always say, "Hey, by the way, I'm not supposed to say anything, but apparently for your birthday you're going to get a pony," stuff like that. And oh wow, and so that ran into a whole thing, which is now that was probably at least 10 years ago.
All born.
Yeah. And we're still doing it. I mean, we're still, it's still part of the shtick.
No, actually, we started in 2013. So today,
yeah, but I was doing this on the radio.
So it could have been 10 years ago.
Well, yeah, 9 years,
Yeah,
8 or 9 years.
9 years.
Anyway, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so thank you, Scooter. Who was that now? Scooter. All right, cool. All right, coming up, we'll talk about Hunter's hooker. Also, the Marine who was a hero and got arrested for it, protecting our criminals. And wait till you hear about some weird crime stuff. Also, it's about time to start shooting back and firing back in any way we can to these forest people who are trying to shut down the police building coming up.
Forest people.
The forest people. The wood people, the forest people.
Wood nymphs?
The protesters who have taken over the site for the Atlanta police training session.
We haven't nuked that yet.
They're still causing trouble.
In
and
the
now
wooded
they're doing
area.
it in other states. They went after the guy's personal home in Alabama for the company that's, I'll talk about it. We'll get to it. First of all, reminder about, in fact, Rachel been talking about security and how things are going really weird around here. Dead Crow Defense. Hey, look up this company on the web, deadcrowdefense.com. It's not a gun store. It's your gun store. It's your personal arms dealer. They helped out Flounder looking for 9mm ammo. Well, they've got it. In fact, they've got ammo at prices that'll beat everybody else. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll get it for you. Deadcrowdefense.com. They work with you to see what you want in this ever-changing world. And it's not just guns and ammo. It's personal safety gear and security devices and gear and stuff like that. Look it up yourself. Have a little fun on the internet. Deadcrowdefense.com. If they have the item right there, they ship it out the next. So you got your, there you are. Deadcrowdefense.com. If they have it right there, they'll ship it out the very next day. Good old-fashioned customer service. The stuff we've been expecting and you get at deadcrowdefense.com. If you want to look them up on the web, go to sales@deadcrowdefense.com and they'll reach out to you to make sure you get what you're looking for. Here's their phone number, area 678-576-9117, or again, sales@deadcrowdefense.com. And when you're online, use the promo code KIMMER, KIMMER, at checkout for 10% off your first several orders. Your personal arm dealer, and we appreciate their patronage and sponsorship here on the Kimmer Show podcast, deadcrowdefense.com. Hunter Biden. I saw this on Jesse last night, Jesse Waters. Hunter Biden, and I haven't seen it pretty much anywhere else. Hunter Biden had his own Chinese honeypot spy working for him and his company. And she was a dish, very sexy. And she was his secretary. And they were very close, apparently.
She worked under him.
She worked under him, all right. And she also, a couple things that I thought were very interesting. And again, you can't find this story. It's remarkable because we don't have any media. That's why. If this had been Donald Trump Jr., guarantee you that's all we'd be talking about. This hot, sexy Chinese spy working for Hunter apparently would give him maps of pipelines and say to him, here are the pipelines we want to have connected for our Chinese energy systems. And so what we think you should do is you should convince this is back when his dad was vice president. You should convince your dad to run for president. Like 5, 6 years ago, you should convince your dad to run for president because these would be great opportunities for energy supplies and so forth. So they were canoodling with Hunter years and years ago as part of the Chinese effort, just the way they were with Eric Swalwell, who got the honey trap. They've been doing this for years. And Hunter had his own Fang trying to convince him not only to get his father to become president, but to help them with their energy costs and their energy systems for the communist Chinese. And this has been I guarantee you, every major university or research center which has grants for communist Chinese workers and researchers to study America and so on, so half of them are freaking spies. And if you don't think that there are people in Washington in Congress, you think Swalwell was the only American congressman who's been banging a Chinese spy? Please. And the money? Oh, come on, you're killing me. Anyway, so Hunter had one, and she was in charge of trying to get natural gas deals and linked to Daddy. I wonder whether the FBI has investigated that part of it, because that to me is a national security issue, isn't it?
You think Swalwell at some point would have been removed from? No,
he's still on the intelligence committee.
He's still getting intel. Yeah.
Same with Dianne Feinstein. Her driver was for 20
well,
years.
She's been incompetent now for a couple of years. She doesn't even go to meetings anymore. They don't even talk to her anymore, which is another argument.
Another doddering old fool.
That's right, term limits. Anyway, but again, talk about national security. You think the FBI is going to get his cell phone going through Hardy's drive-in? I mean, it's astounding of the FBI Nazis.
It's hard to take anything in the federal government serious when they don't do anything about catching Jeffrey Epstein's Johns. They don't do child traffickers. She's the only person in the world ever convicted of trafficking children for sex, and there were no customers.
Yeah.
And they don't go after Swalwell, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So you can't take them serious.
No. And again, they're pulling over people in a conservative in a Hardy's drive-through to get his phone,
arresting Catholics.
But yeah,
because they're Catholic,
with 20 armed agents with rifles pointed at the children on the stairs.
Yeah, you have 20 that day, but we outnumber you 1,000 to 1.
God.
So.
And again, they're not going after all those Democrats who threatened the Supreme Court on the ruling. They're not going after all the Democrats who said the election was a sham, that Donald Trump's election was illegal and fixed, and they're not going after them because they didn't believe in the election. But they're sure going after conservatives who do. I mean, it's just, if you don't think that means something. I thought this was fairly, and again, I've been following, although the Senate race in Pennsylvania. Do you have any idea whether Oz is going to beat this guy Fetterman?
No, because the average Pennsylvania is dumber than a rubber ducky.
I mentioned my daughter Jennifer, God bless her, the role model, used to be a cocaine and heroin addict and is a recovering addict, been clean for 15 years in next month, or hell, I think it's now 17 years next month, October 5th, I believe. She used to live in Pennsylvania in a couple of different places, and she calls it Pennsyltucky. And it's not too.
Why insult Kentucky?
Well, they're trying to do the right thing, But again, and the state, she had to deal with the state because of her convictions and records and things she had to suffer. And they treated her like crap, and were, I mean, it's just a place to, And again, Philadelphia is one of the most important cities for the history of America, going back from the very beginning.
But if you do read that history, they were crap artists from the beginning.
Yeah, right.
That's been a horrible city from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, and again, they were trying to take advantage of the economy, and back when the country was being formed, there were people who were trying to take advantage of it for their personal benefits, and there were a lot of, I've forgotten who was involved in the names and stuff, but there were a lot of shenanigans going around.
Well, Benedict Arnold's wife was from there, and she's the one that pretty much convinced him to turn.
Yeah, she was after money. She was a money grubber from and he was the reason
they were rich though, but she wanted power and money.
Yeah, and the reason he turned to become a traitor was because he felt that he was getting his due. It wasn't that, you know.
And she was telling him.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that the British said, "We'll kill your family unless you come work for us." He was angry at America for not treating him like a king. So he said, "Well, you know, I'll just help the British."
He was also in debt. And he was trying to get out of debt. And in
His
large
wife was
part because he had
pressure.
used a lot of his money to help in the war. So he had a legitimate gripe, but the way he went about it was wrong.
And he was right that they didn't. I mean, he was a war hero.
They screwed him over.
Yeah. And of course, his wife was the first Meghan Markle, I think, was where they got.
And that
her.
was the Congress in Philadelphia that was screwing, not paying him.
Right. That's right. In fact, didn't Washington say you deserve more rank or deserve more money, but Congress wouldn't give it to him? And I think there was definitely some
Congress
people
that
who
was
were out
doing
to get him and were not giving him his due. Anyway, among other things. Now, John Fetterman. I was reading The Onion. And, you know, John Fetterman's the guy who, he believes he's had a stroke. And he clearly is not available to use his full mental faculties. I don't know whether he's lost half his brain power. I don't know whether his stroke has left him unable to think, but it sure has left him unable to clearly communicate and to process information. If they ever do have the one so-called debate they're going to do, he's demanded that they have all the questions in writing in front of him to show up on a computer screen because he can't hear and interpret and speak at the same time. So if they have a debate, Oz has agreed to let him read the questions and the comments, and as opposed to hearing them and reacting to them, which is okay. But still, that's a thing, that means you're not at your level. You're supposed to be a United States senator, and you have to have special handicap things to be able to communicate. This isn't like you need a crutch to walk. Handicap because you can't move is one thing. Handicap of your mind is a way different thing.
He's not fit to serve.
Well, the other thing he's not fit to serve, he believes totally in open borders.
Second-degree murderers should walk.
For everyone. He believes in murderers should be let out. He believes in no more life sentences. He believes in open borders. He believes in reparations. He believes in defunding the police. I mean, he believes in the most ridiculous socialist. It's unbelievable. But the things he really has said. He's against fracking. He's against the oil and gas industry. I mean, anyway, one after another. And of course, he's got this big lump in that's why he wears that hoodie, because he's got a 17-pound lump in the back of his head. I guess it's a goiter.
It's like young Frankenstein, where it keeps moving from one side to the other.
He goes to the other side. Wasn't that? I'm a very skilled surgeon. Walk this way. But now, by the way, has anybody said, is that a goiter, or is it a mass that needs to be a cancerous lump, or what is it?
He's pregnant, I think.
I mean, really, has anyone addressed what it is? Is it dangerous? Is it life-threatening? Is it?
It's hard to look at.
But that's why he wears a hoodie, man. You can't wear a hoodie when you're going to the Senate.
Yeah, how are you going to do? Wear that in the Senate?
Anyway,
look like just a hood from the street.
Lump. And he's just, he lived with his mommy and daddy in his 40s. They paid him a lot. He never had a job until he became, and they paid him an allowance in his 45 years old, and his mommy and daddy paid him his money.
Well, he's a Democrat. He's the perfect Democrat.
He's a perfect example. Yeah. Anyway, The Onion has come out with a story that this may cement it for him for the election. It's very possible. Apparently, John Fetterman now is offering the voters his medical transparency by literally ripping the heart out of his chest. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, with the growing demands from critics that he addresses concerns about his health, John Fetterman offered voters the full transparency at a rally this morning, ripping the heart clear out of his chest. Quote, "It's essential that we address any worries that voters have about their candidate's fitness for office, which is why the lieutenant governor chose to tear out his still beating heart and hold it out for all to see," said campaign manager Brendan McPhillips, stressing it was an essential part of running an honest campaign for Fetterman to hold the pulsating organ close enough to the audience that it splattered their shocked faces. Frankly, we wanted to head off any of our opponents' ginned-up rumors about John's health, and we absolutely think we did that when he gasped out, "See? Do you see how it still beats?" as he grew increasingly pale and weak from the blood loss. "I really believe we nipped the whole thing in the bud by the time he collapsed on stage." At press time, the campaign reportedly responded to a follow-up question about Fetterman's stroke by sending aides to saw off the top of his head and see that the unconscious candidate was still alive. God.
Finally figured out who he reminds me of.
Ooh.
Frankenstein's monster.
Oh,
All it's missing
Fester.
are the nodes.
Yeah, or Fester from the
Yeah, he
other-
does look like Fester. You're right.
He does.
Uncle Fester.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. Anyway, just talk about a freaking scandal. Let's
If
see.
you had gone back in the 70s or the 80s when Reagan was in office and said, this is the type of things that are going to be not only running for Congress, but are in Congress, the Swalwells, the drunken Pelosi's, this Fetterman guy, you would have thought, what the hell
Yeah.
happened to our country?
That's right. They used to think the outrageous used to be someone like Barry Goldwater, who was just really conservative. Said, "Well, bomb the bastards." I mean, I can't believe that. But that wasn't, that's just a strong military conservative stand. That's not, the stuff that they're coming up with
Goldwater
now.
also believed in using nukes a little more than the average
Well,
American
he
did.
was a militaristic fellow, sure. 1, 9, 8. Remember they counted back? Little girl picking daisies, and it worked. He was no way he was going to get elected because he was kind of but he was an Arizona guy. I mean,
When Arizona was for men.
back when Arizona was the Wild
Men,
West, was
women.
still a conservative place where you knew what you were getting into. Anyway.
Hell, he was from there before when it was a territory, right?
Probably. The Braves went to the White House the other day, and of course, President Pedophile pretended he actually knew anything about the Braves. And then all of a sudden, at the podium, the little she's black, she's gay, she's a girl. Jean between
That girl.
the dumbest. If you take all the black gay females in America and put them all in one room, she'd be the dumbest one, and they picked her to represent America at the podium
I'm
representing
telling you
America.
right now, almost every black female gay person I've known, and there's a few, are very intelligent. They're not stupid.
This woman is stupid. She can't ad lib. She can't remember one thought process form to the next. I mean, if she doesn't have her book in front of her, and she what kills me, she uses the same phrases over and over and over as she stalls. It's like a kid a seventh grader writing his first term paper, and it's got to be 200 words, but he ran out at 184. So he's saying, and like I said before, the important thing about this entire project is to make sure that those who are in part of the thing, I mean,
She goes into
Oh my
Kamala
God.
speak. The community knows the community needs a community to.
I mean, it's just, oh my God. I mean, and Vice President Carmela, I mean, she's just stupid. She's a lawyer and a former Attorney General of California. So, I mean, she can't be totally brain dead, but she's just dumb.
But what gets me is they invite the Braves up there. They took their sweet time doing it. They invite the
Yeah.
Braves up there to supposedly laud them and commemorate them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the Biden regime is shitting all over Atlanta again, just like they
Yeah.
did last year when they helped steal the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And literally on the day that they're supposed to be commemorating the Braves, they're shitting on them on the press conference by saying, well, you really need to talk about changing the team name and stopping this tomahawk chop. You try and stop the tomahawk chop.
Well,
bitch.
Governor Kemp says he strongly supports the Atlanta Braves keeping their name. Quote, the Braves are the Braves. They need to keep chopping. He emphasized, asked about Major League World Series champions, whether they should change their name, or the argument over the use of Native American names, and so on and so forth. The Braves' name and accompanying tomahawk logo are under criticism. Back in the spotlight when Jareen Kaleen Dedeen, she's black, she's gay, she's a girl, got to the podium. So, well, we believe it's important to have this conversation. Native American and indigenous voices, they should be at the center of the conversation. And that was just word salad once again. But again, they're bringing it up at the podium for the White House when the Braves are supposed to be honored for their achievements when they got screwed out of the All-Star game. And that, to me, again, no one directed that to her. I guess that no one even mentioned that either. But again, this is just so freaking insulting.
It's insulting. They would never do that to New York City or
God.
Philadelphia or Chicago or L.A. They'd never do that. But Atlanta, fair game.
Kemp took aim in saying, for them to be celebrated at the White House and then the president's administration talk about changing the name is ridiculous. The Braves have a great rapport with the Native American community in the state. They've been in the governor's office. We've met with them before. We don't need the cancel culture that this White House has had. And again, I guess we could talk about this forever. They used to have a teepee out in the freaking field. I mean, Chief Nakahoma.
You come dance around the
and again,
pitcher's
that was a
mouth.
little,
That's
kind
pushing
of
it.
characteristic.
But he was a real Indian.
But still, he wasn't.
I'm sorry, indigenous person. Because
He
Indian's
was
a
an
stupid
Indian.
name.
He was a real Indian.
That's a stupid name.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have called them Indians from the beginning. But
Well, they call them natives. I mean,
they're indigenous.
yeah.
It's
Anyway.
which is a stupid word.
Well, that's what
too.
they call them Indies.
Well, you know what you
Indigenous
call them?
Indians.
They're Cherokee or Choctaw. Take a second and find out what they actually are.
Well, I mean, is it offensive to call a Jewish person a Jew?
No.
But it depends on how you say it. If you say, "Oh, look, there's a Jew," or if you say, "There's a Jew," there's a difference.
Or you can say, as a Jew, we know how religious you are. As a Jew,
Actually, I was rewriting my book, "The Totally Biased Guide to Southern College Football," because I got to add Oklahoma to it now.
Oh, God.
And yeah, seriously, there goes the book.
Yeah.
And I was rewriting the Georgia Tech chapter, and the greatest song ever in college is the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech.
Georgia
right?
Tech, yeah.
That was based on
It's pretty cool.
That was based on a Scottish vomiting ballad. Basically, it was a tavern thing.
I knew it was a bar song.
Because I'm
but I didn't know it was
a
about puking.
roving gambler or something like that. And in it, he talks about buying a secondhand shirt from a Jew shop.
Oh. Now see that, that's different. That's we know, but we all know this. We abide by it.
Bill Burr does a really funny segment where he talks about how white people always screw up by using the cuss word before the race. So if you're white and you're talking, it's like, hey, yeah, man, I was with this fucking black guy. Whoa. But if the black guy says it, well, I was with this white fucking guy. And so it's always all right as long as you use the cuss word after the race.
The white, yeah.
He says it much better.
Well, another thing, speaking of politically correct, and again, last night I was watching Jesse Waters, and in one segment, I was kind of in the background. I was working on the podcast, and I look up and I see this hot blonde on the set with him, a knockout blonde on the set with Jesse Waters, and I tune in. She's with PETA, and PETA she's the spokeswoman now for PETA, telling women, if your man eats meat, cut him off. No sex. No more sex. Calling for women to go on a sex strike against men who eat meat.
You can leave now, bitch.
And this hot blonde, I mean, and she was happy and laughing, and he was joking with her. I mean, she was sexy. I mean, she, a grown woman. She wasn't like 20. I mean, she was a grown woman, but very, real sexy and attractive, flashy, platinum blonde. And she was trying to make the point, that here we go again. And once in a while, every year or so, PETA comes up with some thing like this, and now it's a sex strike. Put your foot down against meat-eating men. We all know them, the suburban men with beer bottles in hand, brandishing tongs while cooking sausages on their expensive gas grills. These barbecue masters believe they can prove their masculinity to themselves and their fellow humans through their consumption of meat, not only hurting animals, but also harming the planet. The science speaks for itself. Here's their problem. A study found that men contribute significantly more to the climate catastrophe than women, primarily through their meat consumption. Which is why PETA is proposing a strike on sex meat-eating men to persuade them to go vegan. Men need to take accountability for their actions. Research shows their impact on the climate is so disproportionately large, they should take steps to rectify that. Men's eating habits, I'm not making this up, quote, men's eating habits result in 41% more greenhouse gases than women. It's unclear why they're focusing on male eating habits as a sole measure of gender contributions to climate. The beauty and makeup industry does a lot more disrepair through plastic pollution, ocean chemical pollution, deforestation, and air pollution. The beauty industry is plagued by a tendency toward cruel animal testing as well. But PETA didn't, talk about support against similar strike for women. So all the fathers who are still grilling meat but want their kids to have a healthy future on a habitable planet, it's time for a lifestyle change.
I'll meet them halfway, ladies. I can provide a meat that you can eat.
I'll
Doesn't
do
hurt the
some meat
environment.
eating, but nothing you'll be complaining.
You can smoke it first.
Well, if you can't even kiss her.
I don't know why, but this reminds me of a joke I heard last night. There's a comedian out there. He's in his 60s, and that's his gig because he's an older comedian.
Yeah.
And he's just now really becoming a
Who's
stand-up.
his- what's his name?
I don't know his name,
Yeah.
but he's bald, and he's funnier than hell. And he says he's at the gym the other day because he wants to stay in shape.
Yeah.
And all the treadmills either are broken or there's someone on there, so he's patiently waiting his turn. And the guy bounces up to him, the gym guy goes, "Hey, buddy, over here in the corner we got ellipticals and Stairmasters. They'll give you the same workout." And the comedian looks at him and goes, "Let me ask you this. You go into a brothel, and the madam comes up and says, all the girls are busy right now, but we got a couple of guys upstairs. They'll give you the same workout."
It's the same result. You'll be sweating.
I'll wait for this treadmill.
Oh, mercy. A couple of social media things I noticed the other day. There's an awful lot of stuff that's popping up now on social media and in Twitter stuff about Meghan and Harry, and now because there's a new documentary coming out, or it's a drama, but the royal families wants to make sure that it's not looked at as a documentary on The Crown. King Charles's divorce. King Charles used to be Prince Charles. King Charlie III. Is going to be, they're going to do a lot of talking about his divorce. Buckingham Palace is moving to protect their reputation as Netflix prepares to dramatize the all-out war of his marriage to Princess of Wales Diana in a new series of The Crown. It comes out in November, and it will have the bitter divorce of the Prince and Princess of Wales for the 10-part series. The Buckingham Palace officials are moving to protect their reputation with that new series coming out, and they're
Well, it's not a new series. It's been on for years
Well, it's
now.
not the new series,
and
but it's
they've
a new
already gone
segment.
over this. Actually, the troubles between Diane and him,
Yeah.
how they met, how they started, how it started to go bad. I guess now they're going to do the whole year on just them two, which would suck because the whole great thing about the show is that it does all of them
Yeah.
and shows what's going on in the whole family. But I mean, it looks like they're going to just target them just to make them look bad.
Well, I got a feeling that I don't know why they would do that.
Well, it's a great show, by the way. It really is. It'd be a shame if it goes bad now because they have an agenda.
But on the other hand, I agree with him that his behavior toward her from day one,
True, but she wasn't innocent
despicable.
completely. But especially in the middle and toward the end, things she did were horrible as well.
Yeah, by Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Well, when she was banging her royal
she wasn't
coachman guy.
she was banging everything.
Well, I get. Well,
And doing it out and about to the point where it was dangerous for her. It was dangerous for her kids. It was a security issue.
well,
It was all
never
kinds
got
of
that
trouble.
I never got. I guess I didn't
Because she
follow
was
it
an
that
idiot,
closely.
is
Yeah.
what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
Now, is he totally at fault? Yeah.
Well,
The way he should never have married her.
Right.
It was all BS from the beginning,
Yeah.
and they cover that in the show.
Yeah.
But she, especially at the end there, she was a grown woman making really stupid decisions.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, I can't even imagine.
And hurting her kids, by the way.
Yeah.
The way she was doing was hurting her kids.
I really wasn't aware of much of that. I guess I didn't really follow much other than the fact I always felt bad for her and took her side about the fact, well, the way he treated her.
Yeah,
and
I mean-
Carmel and the royal fan, the queen,
Yeah.
and the whole deal. Anyway, now speaking of Twitter, again, I go on Twitter once a day to see if there's anything I should know. Kind of just being trying to be show some perspicacity to this ridiculous little podcast of ours. Apparently, there's a whole thing going on with social media and Twitter about Deadpool 3.
Okay.
Now, I've seen maybe 12 minutes total of either of the two Deadpool things. Is that the Ryan Reynolds ones,
Yes,
right?
very funny.
And it's
Very
a fun.
funny.
And I remember I saw a part where he's very sarcastic, and it's a comedy, but it's not. It's a weird
He's
comedy.
the merc with a mouth
Yeah.
is what they call it.
Anyway, okay, so here's what's going on Twitter concerning Deadpool 3. John Krasinski, who, by the way, two guys from comedies, John Krasinski from The Office and Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec, comedians made huge inroads in serious drama movies, which is really remarkable. I mean, more power to them. But anyway, Deadpool 3, John Krasinski will return as Reed Richards in Deadpool 3.
Good.
And now some of the reaction. I have information that can lead to the automatic arrest of John Krasinski. Someone says, not listening to anyone with this PFP, John Krasinski Reed hate is so forced. What's PFP?
What's a PFP, Flounder?
Not listening to anyone with this PFP.
Perfectly personal effing problem?
Maybe. John Krasinski Reed hate is
Everybody
so
loved him
forced.
as Mr. Fantastic.
Another one. I saw that John Krasinski was trending, and I shat myself thinking it was an.
What? Picture for I don't know. What
Oh
that
my
means.
God. I saw John Krasinski was trending, and I shat myself thinking it was a Nettle Full House situation. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
But no, he's just in a new movie. That's my king right there. Another, wait, don't tell me John Krasinski's teasing that he's in Deadpool 3 too. Don't play with my heart, Jim.
You know what the thing is here, though? Ryan Reynolds is behind most of this. He's
Well,
putting out his little things, making fun of his own movie.
Ryan Reynolds quote on Twitter, hard keeping my mouth sewn shut about this one. So I think he started it.
And the first time you ever see Deadpool in the Wolverine movie about 10 years ago, they literally had sewed his mouth shut to keep him from talking.
Well, he says, hard keeping my mouth sewn shut about this one. And then Adina says, John Krasinski's Reed and Hugh Jackman's Logan in Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds. This is literally something a dude bro on TikTok would come up with.
Yeah, because he said he was never going to do Wolverine again. And now
Is
he's
that-
as Logan.
is that right?
He said that was it. But they're such great friends, it wouldn't surprise me
Now,
if he's
is
in
there
it.
This is
Oh, yeah.
real, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's not out yet, I'm guessing.
No, it's
They're
not out
making
yet.
it?
They're
But do we actually know who's doing it? Or
I'm sure Krasinski's in it because he was in the Doctor Strange and he surprised everybody as Mr. Fantastic. It was like, oh my God, John, he's there, you know.
Wow. Well, anyway, pretty cool. Coming up, the
And
hero.
by the way, there's
Yes.
a show. I don't know who's doing it. Ryan Reynolds and one of the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia bought a Welsh soccer team, kind of like what's that other thing that Jason Sudeikis is doing?
Oh, that's supposed to be a funny series.
That's on Apple, which is very funny,
Yeah.
by the way. Well, it's kind of like that, where they bought it's a very small town in Wales, and they don't know anything about soccer, and they're doing a documentary following them around this small town, basically, and they're being interviewed by a Welsh lady. And so they're asking her different words for, like, how do you say idiot in Welsh? And she says idiot. She goes, how do you say this in Welsh? He goes, well, put them in a sentence. And she does this whole sentence saying, okay, you two stupid Americans don't know anything about, soccer. I've bought this thing over here and you're a bunch of idiots and blah, blah, blah. And they're looking at each other going, I think she's insulting us.
It's in a sentence. It was a sentence. You asked me. You idiot. Anyway, coming up, the Marine hero got himself arrested for it. Also, protecting your convict. And some of the most bizarre crimes I've heard of. Also, Pete's got in something about a new fight club. Ask the Kimmer, or did we already do that one? A physics
No, I don't
question of
think-
some
no, we
kind.
have not
And
asked the
something
Kimmer.
about Vietnam and
Vietnam.
America's pastime.
And I have to correct myself.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. He is not American.
Oh, really? I don't think
he's
I knew
Canadian.
that. Huh. Well, that's like, wasn't one of the guys from Friends Canadian? No, maybe not. I don't know what I'm thinking of. It doesn't matter.
At the end of his Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, he's doing outtakes. He gets hold of a time machine so he can go back and fix things in his life. So he goes back and fix things with girlfriends and stuff like that. And he goes out. Do you ever watch Green Lantern?
Yeah, a little bit.
Which
I
it
see.
wasn't as bad as everyone says, but it was a flop.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It
Yeah.
was Ryan Reynolds' biggest flop and everything like that. So he goes back in time as Deadpool, and it's Ryan Reynolds, the actor, reading the script for Green Lantern. And he goes, gosh, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be great. And Deadpool just shoots him in the back of the head.
See, that's funny. I should probably watch those. It wasn't it Ryan Reynolds was in Safe House where he played the CIA agent.
Yeah, with Denzel.
That was a great movie, man. And again, there's another guy who was a comedian in the movie about going to college. I forgot what the
I never
wasn't he? He was a college student and he got away with murder and and it wasn't what's her name Reed somebody Kara Reed or whatever her name was wasn't
What?
she in it too? He
What
played
are
a
you
college
talking
student where he got away with everything.
I know exactly.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
it was
National Lampoon's Van Wilder.
Van Wilder.
Oh,
It's
I
actually,
never saw that.
but
Looks
it's
stupid.
actually he's playing. That's supposedly who's the comedian? Bert. Bert. No, the big guy. He does a stand-up comedian without a shirt.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, his name's Bert something, and that's supposedly who the character he played.
I got you. Anyway, he's here's another comedian who that role in that movie Safe House was that was a great movie. A very, very good movie. Anyway, I want to thank a couple of our sponsors. Also, we're going to do a bump and a bump bump coming up. You'll hear that. Bump and a bump bump. Trust me, you'll hear it later.
You won't do a Johnny Midnight. But
I
you'll
will
do
not do
a
a Johnny. I
Mamba.
mean, I should do another Johnny Midnight. The problem, I need the music. I have to blend it. You know, I have to. It'd be hard to pull it off. I don't know.
Well, we could do it, and I could produce it, and then we could replay it.
Yeah. But I would have to be where I kind of give you hand signals of when I would be doing a different thing. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. We need to get back on the radio. My God, man. And when we do, we'll have commercial endorsements like our friends at M&S Title Pawn.
That's right.
Now I say it slowly because the name of the company involves two letters, the letter M and the letter S. So it's M&S Title Pawn. And this wonderful little shop is in beautiful Bremen, Georgia, 306 Laurel Street, Suite A. Open Monday through Saturday. Love to have you come in, shop around, look around, see what's going on, or bring in what you're, talking with them about, stuff like that. Monday through Saturday, Laurel Street, Suite A in Bremen, Georgia, M&S Title Pawn. Now, here's a phone number in case you want to call and check out something in advance. Area 678-821-3337. And if you want to look them up on the web, the key is to spell out M&S Title Pawn. So when you spell it, the way to look them up on the web is manstitle.com. M-A-N-D-S title.com. See how that works out? M&S Title is manstitle.com. 678-821-3337. M&S Title Pawn in Bremen. And our great appreciation to being part of the Kimmer Show podcast. Okie dokie. Now, this kind of was near and dear to my heart about a United States Marine who did the right thing, was totally and completely honest about it, and got screwed. Yes, a Marine veteran named Lloyd Muldrow was in Baltimore, and he leaped into action when his friend was being attacked. And he went to jail for it, and he could be in serious trouble for it. What happened was the Marine, ex-Marines, former Marine, I think he was still on active duty, if I'm not mistaken. I beg your pardon. He saw his friend in danger. He said, quote, "My natural reaction was to do as I was trained for my country." He was in Baltimore visiting his friend over the summer at a bar. When he got there, he saw his friend named Cullens in a struggle with a man identified as Wesley Henderson, who was holding a gun. He says, "When I saw my friend in danger, I reacted as I was trained to do. At the bar, he saw his friend was bleeding from his forehead, so assumed he had been shot. Turned out that the bad guy had pistol whipped his friend, the Marine's friend. And the police were not able to find the gun, but clearly he had a gun, had been pistol whipped. So the Marine jumped in and disarmed the bad guy, held the bad guy for the police. When the police showed up at the scene, he was investigating the Marine because the Marine admitted to him. He said, "I'm a member of the terrorism unit, and I have a gun in my possession, and I have a permit to carry a concealed weapon where I live in Virginia." Unfortunately, he was in Baltimore, Maryland at the time. He's a member of the Marine Corps Security Force Regiment, a security and anti-terrorism unit. He's trained other Marines in hand-to-hand combat, disarmed several enemies, has been digging up explosive devices. This guy's a pro. And he reacted normally. When the police showed up, he said, by the way, I have a gun. And they said, oh, really? Well, the fact of the matter is your permit in Virginia does not allow you to have a permit to carry in Maryland, so they took him to jail. Not only did they take him to jail, it's very likely that he's going to lose his permission for his job. He is heard on police body cam. The victim... the Marine was told first, he was advised that a Virginia permit does not apply in the state of Maryland. He is not permitted to carry a firearm. The victim, his friend, is heard on police body cam telling the cops, if he hadn't helped me, that guy would have killed me. And the cops said, well, look, the laws are the way they are in Maryland on handguns. Talk to your city councilman if you want. Talk to your congressman about open carry, especially if it's a violation of something. And of course, the Marine says, am I violating the Second Amendment? Yeah, no kidding. When you're talking about military veterans who served their country overseas against enemies, foreign and domestic, and we're here facing a state-to-state carry law, it's an injustice to the Constitution. And it is. And so now a lot of states have complementary permission, basically, from one state to another, but a lot of them don't. So if you have a concealed carry permit in Georgia and you're driving somewhere and you have it on you in wherever, you may get arrested and spend some serious jail time. And
there's a map that shows you.
Yeah, and if he's convicted of a crime like that, he can lose his status for employment later and all kinds of things.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when the Marine accidentally went into Mexico?
Oh, God, yeah.
So Maryland is just like Mexico now.
Tamarisi was his
something
name?
Like that. Yeah.
He got in the wrong lane at the border, and he said, I'm here by mistake. I don't want to go to Mexico. I got in the wrong lane. And they said, well, pull over here. When they did, they looked in his car, and he had guns in there. And he told them, I've got weapons here. I don't mean to be in Mexico. And they threw him in jail. He was there for almost a year. They tortured him. This is Tamaresi was the sergeant. And among other things, the jailers in Mexico would stand him up and chain him, handcuff him, standing up to a metal bed frame and leave him there 24 hours a day, so he had to go to the bathroom standing up in his own waste.
And Obama did nothing.
And Obama never mentioned his name.
Yeah.
Never mentioned his name. Anyway, that's
but
your
I'm supposed
typical.
to respect him because he's a former president.
Yeah.
Eat me.
He can kiss me. He's a hater and a divider. He's a scumbag.
No, they're the enemy.
In fact, I saw this video. This was hysterical, and no one else is going to play it. And again, they should, and it will make things different in this country. They played the soundbite last night of Barack Hussein Puttitat, who was complaining that the Trump MAGA Republicans are a danger to our democracy. And he was saying that the fact that they are so racist as to try to prevent people from coming into America, it's because these MAGA Republicans following Donald Trump are so racist that they don't care. They don't want, he actually used the word brown people. He said the problem with these MAGA Republicans and the border is they don't want all these brown people coming into America. All these brown people. Crowd, yeah, racist, man, racist. And then they played the soundbite of Barack Hussein Puttitat in 2007, where he said, this President George Bush is letting all these illegal immigrants into the country and doing nothing about it. It's going to change our entire nation. The workforce of our entire nation will be disrupted. It'll change the entire nature of our country if we keep allowing these people to come streaming across the border, and your President Bush is doing nothing about it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God.
Same thing that people are getting fired from jobs and not being able to run for things because they held the belief about marriage that Obama did in 2011.
Right. He was against gay marriage.
Yes, against it.
And again, why don't if the media would just play those, if they would just every night they come out and say, okay, here's what he said today, here's what he said when he was running for office.
And here's something, I'm so tired of hearing this. I am proudly an enemy of democracy. I hate democracy.
We do not want a democracy.
Democracy is this mob rule. There's no minority rights.
Right.
I will always
Minorities
be
will
an
always
avowed
lose.
enemy of whatever democracy you're shilling.
By definition, a minority is less than, and if you're less than, you don't have the number of votes. Therefore, by definition, a democracy will always discriminate against minorities, whatever the minority might be.
Yep.
You don't have enough votes to win. Okay. So, I mean, duh.
Democracy is not representative government.
Anyway, just appalling. Now, this was rather bizarre. In fact, I was interested that Neil Bortz's commentary on 106.3, extra 106.3 on the radio, and get a free app to listen to it because the signal's terrible. And that's the station. I call them in on Friday mornings, and they play our podcast at noon on Saturday. And again, it's a free app, extra 106.3, to get a free app on your phone to listen to it clearly. Anyway, Bortz's commentary this morning, among other things, was about the Human Resources Council, or Commission, Human Relations Commission, rather, for the Atlanta City Council. They're looking at a new law which would add another link to people who need their class status protected. The Atlanta Human Relations Commission investigates and hears complaints concerning discrimination in public accommodations and employment and housing and things like that. At the moment, the Atlanta Human Relations Commission reviews allegations of discrimination concerning the following: race, color, creed, religion, sex, domestic relationship status, sexual orientation, national origin, gender identity, age, and physical disability. So if you are a member of any of those subsets and someone said something nasty to you or caused you to feel that they were discriminating against you because of your sexual orientation or your domestic relationship or your religion or your age, or your you go to the Atlanta Human Relations Commission and they will either sue for you or complain or file letters or do whatever they have to do to get you a protected status. Well, guess what? They have a new proposal now which would also add protected status to a criminal background. If you are a convict with a record, your record and your status as a convict would be protected to the extent that they couldn't discriminate against you just for that reason. Oh, you're a convict? I don't have to let you in my house or whatever it is. So they want to add convicts' criminal history to the protected status of all these other things. The proposal would also create a protected status for people regardless of their gender expression, which is how a person presents their gender outwardly through behavior, clothing, voice, or other characteristics. In other words, if you go around acting like a sissy, talking like this, and somebody makes fun of you, you could be protected against someone making fun of you for deliberately talking like a sissy. I mean, holy... Isn't this list getting a little long?
I mean, it's everybody but me.
Oh, my God.
They should just put a picture of you and me up and say, anybody that's not these two.
I mean, if you're seeking employment and you feel like you've been discriminated against, again, any of the criminal history things, here's your opportunity to raise the flag. The ordinance would state that employers may not use an applicant's criminal record as an absolute bar to employment.
I'm a victim.
Now, let me go over, again, it's hard to do crime stories because there's too many of them.
Before you do the crime story, before I forget, remember when Puerto Rico was hit by that huge storm under Trump?
And the unions.
And the Puerto Rican governor called him every name but white.
They said they weren't getting their stuff, and it was Donald Trump's fault, and he wasn't getting anything. And it turned out it was union truck driver issues and corruption and fraud and greed to the government. They had all that shit in the warehouse for months.
Yeah, it was sitting right there. And Trump was blamed by the media every day. Have you heard the story about what's going on there now? Because they just got hit again.
Puerto Rico, no.
In Puerto Rico. They got power. They don't have food, water, stuff like that. There's a ship waiting there in the port to unload stuff to help them.
Yeah.
The Biden administration has put in some kind of regulations that keep this ship from doing this at this time. And the Puerto Rican people are like, could you please waive that little regulation so we can get this stuff off the ship?
They're asking nicely instead of complaining.
And guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? No, the Biden administration is ignoring them. and not changing it. They're basically leaving it there, and the people are suffering. Have you heard
If
one
Trump-
thing about it?
No, I haven't.
Not one thing.
And I'm a news guy. I haven't seen it anywhere. It didn't pop up on my phone, on social media. I didn't see it on the news. I haven't seen it on TV. I didn't read it on the wires. I haven't seen it on
Stupid
anything.
federal regulations is keeping the people being
If that
helped.
had been Donald Trump,
And all it would take is Joe Biden picking up the phone and saying, "Okay, just
let him
waive
in,
that
let him
until
in.
right
Yeah,
now."
Yeah. Well, again, I was watching Jesse last night, and he made the comment or remark that at that point in his show, it's 8:00, 8:45 last night, a president pedophile had not even called Ron DeSantis to see what can we do for you. He hadn't even called the governor's office down in Florida, and the hurricane was a few hours away. And then finally, after all the complaints that everybody in the world last night on Fox at least was saying the president's ignoring Florida, he hasn't even bothered to call as much. And finally, at like 9:00 at night, he finally called down to say, "What are you doing?"
The president of the United States has not ignored Florida.
Oh, he hasn't?
He's already told them they need their vaccines.
Oh, that's right too. I just played the soundbite. I should have remembered. I guess I've lost my memory too. I mean, just the nerve of these people. I mean, oh Christ, you better call them.
What gets me is the people in California on Twitter mocking the people in the pain in Florida they're about to suffer.
Yeah.
I'm saying, okay, Floridians, please remember this when the big one hits California.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember what they're doing to you right now.
Please. And their governor wants to be your president. All the problems of I mean, it's just the balls on these people. And again, they pulled it off last time. Well, what's to stop them from doing it again?
He's pretty. Let's vote for him.
Who's going to
He's
stop
pretty.
him?
He's got nice
God. Anyway, again, criminal history could affect your ability to get a job or live someplace or whatever. This story to me, again, I mentioned it briefly a little while ago. They call them the forest people. These are the people who are trying to stop the new police training academy that's in DeKalb County part of Atlanta. It's kind of a weird place.
wooded area,
It's a wooded, the famous wooded area. Hey, honey, let's get a picnic lunch and go to the wooded area this weekend. Anyway, so the people who are building tree houses down there and have platforms, they're called forest defenders. They've been destroying and sabotaging the construction machinery, the trucks, and all the stuff. This is where the city of Atlanta wanted to build the training facility for police activities and so forth. A very large area where they would really do some very good work for training. And these people these hippies have taken over. They call them the forest people, forest defenders. Well, now they have gone to the home of the Alabama construction executive, the big shot in the company that's doing the building for this training center. The chairman of Brasfield and Gorey, the contractor, and now these terrorists have gone to his house. They attacked his house with paint, damaged his cars. They splashed them with a gallon of lacquer thinner. Quote, on the driveway, we left a message, see you soon. It's up to you if we make good on this promise. If your dumb company drops the Cop City contract, then stylish people like us wouldn't feel so compelled to visit you ever again. Activists call themselves forest defenders. They've chased off the police and contractors with rocks, bottles, projectiles, including Molotov cocktails. They went to the church of one Brasfield and Gorey vice president at his church and passed out flyers to the church people listing his wife and children by name, informing the congregation members that the executive was choosing to serve mammon over the Lord. They protested outside an executive's Cobb County home as well. I don't think the FBI is going through all of their phones, so are they?
They're going interstate, which makes it FBI.
FBI
Intimidating people.
is in charge of interstate terrorism.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the CIA. It's no business of the CIA. That's the FBI's job.
Yeah, they're ignoring it.
How come the FBI hasn't gone in there and taken them all away in handcuffs? I mean, really?
You know why?
Because of Chrissy Ray, the yellow-bellied, chicken-livered head of the FBI, is an operative for the Stasi Nazi Party of America, apparently.
And the forest people vote Democrat.
God almighty. I mean, they need to be stopped.
I'm telling you what, if
Fight
I'm that
back.
guy in Alabama, I'm hiring a private security firm, and they step foot on my property again, I blow their heads off.
I'll tell you what, I would have, You know, whether you need a beanbag gun or a buckshot that doesn't kill but will wound or
Oh,
something.
no, kill them. They're on your property,
and
destroying your property.
Have some throw-down guns on you that are and with no serial numbers that you can't be traced back to you to plant under them. Yeah, you know, absolutely. I'm sure, you know, there's what they've been doing to us. The Democrats have been doing this for 5 years. Why does they fight back? I mean, whatever, you know, dirty tricks, man, screw them. And make them go to jail. Unbelievable.
This is what happens, though, when the state turns its back on anarchy and refuses to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then gets mad at us when we have to deal with it.
Yeah. Two more quick things that I have to mention because they outrage me so much, and I won't mention a lot of details on this one particular thing. In Gwinnett County, in Lawrenceville, Lewis Ridge Circle in Lawrenceville, the other morning, police were called to the scene. A 4-year-old boy had been stabbed in the stomach. He's alive. He was stabbed in the stomach by, allegedly, according to the police, by his uncle, Anatoly Balesta. Anatoly Balesta is 19, the 4-year-old's uncle, who was suspected of attacking the little boy over narcotics. I don't know what that means, but over narcotics, a little 4-year-old got stabbed, maybe trying to take, I mean, again, just the very issue of that in any way is repulsive to the, just incredible.
I read something last night. Oregon, 2 years ago, passed a law decriminalizing all drugs, all narcotics, everything. And the basis of it was, we're not going to treat them as criminals now. We're going to get them help. This is what we're going to get them help.
Yeah.
Since they passed this law, exactly 1% of everybody that they've dealt with over the drug issue has gotten any help.
Yeah.
Just 1%. Meanwhile, narcotics and drug overdoses that result in death are up 41%.
Well, again, we just came out. There's a story from Portland and Seattle today about what's going on the West Coast. Now they have more tent cities. New York is now going to have a tent city in New York City. Oh, man, you don't think the resident? I've been seeing interviewed, and I say, wait a minute. What are they going to do in January? For all these, thousands.
They're going to move here. You know what they're going to do? They're going to move here.
Send them down by bus to us. And one more crime story to show that some people need to be set on fire. A 10-year-old girl died in a house fire in Loganville. Her name was Zoe McHugh. She had been locked in her room by her parents when her 15-year-old brother intentionally set fire to the home. He did it on purpose. He admitted it. He knew the family was inside when he started the fire. So he has been arrested, but so have the parents. Karina McHugh and William McHugh have been indicted on charges of murder in the death of the daughter. The girl's remains were found in a windowless bathroom where investigators also found a makeshift bed in the bathtub. That was her room. There were 5 children living in the house in unsanitary, dangerous conditions, no sewage system. The children had not been showering for months. They had not been outside the home in years. The couple, Karina McHugh and William McHugh, are charged with using their hands, belts, and a metal pipe to beat the children, deprive them of running water, made them use buckets as toilets in their bedrooms, made them stand on cinder blocks for extended periods of time as punishment, refused to allow them bathroom breaks, resulting in the children soiling themselves. The kids were whipped until they collapsed during punishments, shocked with electric collars, not allowed to attend school or be homeschooled, were so isolated they didn't see their siblings or their neighbors. The couple has been on the run since early May. They were found this summer on the Appalachian Trail and were taken into custody. I don't know what to say.
Kill them. I know what to say.
Oh, my God.
I want them dead.
I mean, how are these children? I mean,
They're feral.
they can live
The
in my house. I'll take them right now. They can
kids
have
are
all 5 of them.
They're feral. They're feral.
God.
Those kids are going to need a lot of work just to be civilized again.
I'm almost sorry to talk about it, but again, you need to. These aren't just bad people. This is the devil. This is
satanic.
real.
And they may even be saying it because of a religion or something. It's satanic.
Oh my God. I'm taking way too much time around stuff. Tell me about Fight Club. Is there a new Fight Club going on or something?
There is a new Fight Club out there. You know, what's the first rule of Fight Club, everybody?
Don't talk about Fight Club.
That's right. Well, there's a new one. It's called the Passive Aggressive Club.
Yeah.
And the first rule of Passive Aggressive Club is, you know what? Never mind. It's fine.
I'm fine. Yeah. By the way, the speed at which your wife says, "Go ahead, I'm fine," is the direct proportion to the shitstorm you're about to receive.
I don't know what commercial it's for, but it's a black couple and she's sitting on the sofa looking out the window, the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
And he comes in all happy and you go like, "Hey, honey." She goes, "Eh." And he's like, is something wrong? And she slowly turns and goes, "No, everything's fine."
Fine.
And then she turns away, and he looks at her, and it's a Snickers commercial. He goes, "You need a Snickers."
You're really not yourself.
He knows he's screwed.
I'm fine.
All right, do you have any music? Do you have any theme music for Ask the Kimmer?
For what?
Ask the Kimmer.
Here's Johnny, or a little showbiz music.
What were you going to say while you made look for a little music?
Well, now I forgot.
All right.
What were you just talking about?
The Snickers.
Well, if your wife says, "Do whatever you want," don't do whatever you want.
For God's sake, don't ever stop whatever you're doing. Yeah. Right then and there. All right, here's a question. Ask the Kimmer.
Ask the Kimmer right here.
All right. Yeah.
Now we're
like
talking.
That. Ask the Kimmer.
I'm ready. I'm ready for anything.
Here's a sentence. It's a sentence. It looks like a paragraph. It's a sentence.
All right.
Physicists at UC Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
the University of Maryland, and the University of Washington have found an answer to the long-standing physics question. Here's the question, and you tell me what you think this means.
All right.
How do interparticle interactions affect dynamical localization?
Interparticle interactions.
Affect with an A, not an E.
Affect.
Affect dynamical localization.
Well, I think that's a legitimate question. Oh my God, that's I don't have that kind of brain thing. I could probably figure out.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're doing something with a local parameters that could be changed by people infecting your thing. I mean, it's all it's word salad. It's honestly,
no, it's not a word salad. Everything means something.
I know it. But again, the fact that you can't explain it or understand it is an example of how they keep separate from the rest of us. One of the reasons when they asked me to get my PhD to stay when I was at Arizona, when I was at Michigan State and got my master's, I was on scholarships and fellowships and all kind. I was teaching a class they had me because I was ex-Marine, whatever. Anyway, so they asked me to stay and get my PhD, and I actually thought about it, although I couldn't imagine myself as a college professor. And if you have a PhD, if you don't want to teach, then why would you have a PhD unless it's some real specific thing for a biology research lab or something? But if you have a PhD in anything other than some specific thing, you want to be a college teacher, and I didn't have any interest in that, really. But the other thing was that it was all such bullshit of, the hours I spent in the library, I looked up every journal for a particular course going back 10 years and took notes on every chapter of every monthly journal for this particular subject for 10 years so that I'd know it at my oral exam for 2 hours. My head was exploding with all this ridiculous, worthless nonsense. But it was all, I had to make sense of it all to be able to use it and connect with, and it was all just bullshit. And it wasn't learning or teaching. It was just
this
accumulation.
This is actual science.
Does it explain what it means?
Well, here's the thing. And they actually go, and I got 2/3 of it before my brain froze.
Exploded, yeah.
But there's documentaries on Netflix and Amazon that do it in very plain English that try and explain quantum physics, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The real world, you got a pendulum set up here.
Yeah.
And it's going back and forth, right, as pendulums
Right.
do. Then you kick it. What happens? You kick it.
Well, boom! It goes way up, once way up,
Oh,
and
it
then
goes
way back.
chaotic.
The other.
It just goes in every direction,
Yeah.
and then slowly it'll come back to normal. But-
eventually.
okay. In quantum physics, when you get to that small level, and you have a bunch of atoms floating around. If you kick it, they go
go
chaotic.
nuts.
They
Yeah.
start moving around there. You kick it again, they're still moving around a little bit. You keep kicking it, they stop moving. They do the exact opposite of what our reality does. It's like they're stubborn and they go, okay, screw it. He's going to keep kicking me. I'm not going to move anymore.
Right.
And they come to a stop, and that's what they call dynamical, because it's still a moving thing, but its localization means it just comes to a stop.
All right, now let me ask you this: what is the possible use of that knowledge?
You can use it to build, and they say right now they don't have the computers on this planet that can figure out why this happened. So they had to actually do a physical experiment where they suspended atoms in light, and then they started kicking them with lasers to make them move around, and that's how they found it. There's no computer smart enough yet to have figured that out, so they actually do the experiment. But the thing is, this experiment will help them build a quantum computer that can figure stuff like this out.
Yeah, but I mean, but
It makes the
if you-
computer
but what-
smarter.
yeah, but does that mean that if you want to build a car, if you build a car in a certain kind of lab where you kick it a lot, it makes it build faster because the molecules come together? I mean, what's the application for this knowledge that molecules go crazy if you kick at them and then they finally stop going crazy?
It's kinda like
what
the-
possible use is that?
In our world, if you throw a ball up against the wall, it'll bounce and come back at you.
Yeah.
In quantum physics, if you take that ball, atom, whatever, you throw it against the wall, it's going to go right through it. And the thing about what Einstein called the spooky stuff was the fact that you have an atom here on Earth and an atom out in Betelgeuse, the star or something, and you do something to this one, and it affects the one out there a trillion miles away. He called it the spooky connectiveness. And somehow that helps them build these quantum computers that are going to rule the freaking world.
I mean, I'm flabbergasted by the whole thing.
And up to a point, I followed it about 2/3 through the article, and then it lost me.
Yeah.
But if you had those Netflix and Amazon, they do a really good job explaining.
I mean, I can accept the explanation. I just don't know how I don't see the next
It's
logical
all for
step to it.
It's all for
I
the
don't-
computer.
Yeah.
It's all to build this
God.
quantum computer, which will be like a god on Earth. Is what it's going to be. By the way, let's see something else here.
All right.
Which I wanted to mention for you. It's a sports thing.
Yeah.
His only major league at bat, Roy Gleason, was a pinch hitter, doubled in the 8th inning of LA's 12-3 loss to the Phillies out at Dodger Stadium. The 20-year-old highly touted bonus baby, Gleason, the only major leaguer drafted into the U.S. Army during Vietnam, suffered injuries while on patrol on the front lines with the 9th Infantry Division. It ended his career. He spent 2 years trying to make a comeback and couldn't come back.
And he did. What was his claim to fame?
He was a bonus baby. He was going to be another star for the Dodgers, and he got injured over in Vietnam, and he couldn't come back from it.
Huh.
He's the only major leaguer drafted in the Army during Vietnam.
Wait a minute. What now?
He was the only major league player.
There was only one player
Drafted
drafted out of the majors to go to Vietnam. Well, of course, because of age.
Drafted
Well, no,
to U.S.
that doesn't
Army.
make any sense. I'll bet he wasn't the first one drafted. I'll bet it's the first one who went.
It says here the first one drafted. Now, sometimes they're wrong.
How is it possible that all those 20-something guys never got a draft notice? I mean, there are thousands of baseball minor. Well, you talk about major leaguers. There's only a couple of hundred of them, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, of the odds.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are.
Yeah. Okay. But that's guy but he served his country, and God bless him. What's his name?
Ray Gleason, I believe.
Ray Gleason. All right, Ray.
All right.
My hockey coach was named Gleason. I wonder if he is a connection.
That's fantastic. I thought I had already brought it
able to
around
bring
to
it
you
around.
with the Vietnam thing, but you did it double. You doubled.
But I didn't mention
You doubled back.
I didn't
You
mention
circled
the
back.
Vietnam part, though. I mentioned the name part.
I know. That's amazing.
So there you are.
Okay, Rakeem Stephen Tate is 32 years old, and he made a bad decision that became a worse decision.
Yeah.
Entered a convenience store September 9th in Escambia County, Florida.
Oh, boy.
All right. He walked in, and he had a shotgun next to him. He says,
I think I saw this video.
I don't mean no harm. I'm just not from around here. I got a big effing gun, but I'm not from around here is what I'm saying. I'm from Chicago, bro. Like that's going to impress
that in
everybody.
Florida,
What
yeah.
did I say? They're all moving down
That's
here.
right.
Okay. Tate is heard asking the employee what kind of weapon he is holding because the employee had a weapon of his own. The employee tells him, but you can't hear. Tate turns and leaves the store.
Yeah.
Because in Chicago, I guess, nobody has a gun to confront you.
Yeah.
So he fumbled for words, resorting to meaningless babble about being from Chicago, said the sheriff. Words seem to fail you when your felony attempt is thwarted by lawful and righteous force. He was arrested. The cops who arrested him said, "You're not in Chicago anymore. You're under arrest."
I think I saw that video. I think
It looks as funny as hell.
Yeah.
And the other day, Flounder said he goes to Coinstar, or he's thinking about going to Coinstar, right, with your coin.
Oh yeah,
for your coins done?
my coins.
Steven says there is no fee at the Coinstar if you get an Amazon gift card.
Oh, well, that would work if that's as good as a credit card.
that's-
if you
oh my
use
God,
to
it's
buy
great.
one. Yeah. Well, you should do
I
that
assume
then.
I can just get that at the store.
No, I think you do a little button on the machine.
Well,
Plus,
somebody must get money for doing it. The store must get money in return for the Amazon. Amazon must pay them to give out the gift cards. Because the store won't do that
Amazon.
for free unless they-
Amazon probably owns Coinstar
yeah,
now.
probably, yeah.
That's how it goes. Okay, here's an idea we should do in our government.
Right.
In the Persian Empire, men would debate ideas twice. Once while sober, and the other while dog drunk. If an idea had sounded good in both states, it was considered acceptable to make law.
That's a great. Think about it. That's a great idea. Hey, watch this.
Okay, here's a tweet from World of History. It shows some guys in Egypt opening up a mummy. Archaeologists in Egypt opened an ancient coffin sealed 2,500 years ago.
Oh my.
To which Mike B replied, "Do you want immortal curses upon your family unto the third generation? Because this is how you get immortal curses upon your family unto the third generation."
Oh, I love it. All right, hold on. We got more stuff coming up, including a quick sports look, a couple things to mention here, and Bump and a Bump is going to come up here in a second. But first, a reminder, one of our Kimber Show podcast sponsors, the guys at swapmywhip.com. Whip is a colloquial phrase for a car or a ride. Swapmywhip.com. I love this idea. Just go there to check it out. Swapmywhip.com. Look it up and say, oh, there's cars there. Cars and boats and trucks and SUVs and jet skis and all kinds of stuff like that. And you're driving along and you see a car on the road you've always wanted. Maybe you go to swapmywhip.com and there's somebody with that car and is willing to trade it with yours or make a deal, whatever. No middlemen, no used car salesmen, no dealerships. Swapmywhip.com, and you might avoid all the hassles and find exactly what you're looking for. Make your own deal. I mean, what a great idea this is. Nobody messing with you. And if you use the Kimmer code, Kimmer, Kimmer, the coupon code Kimmer, it's 180 days of free premium listings on swapmywhip.com. Boats, cars, jet skis, all that stuff. A better deal is waiting for you. Check it out, swapmywhip.com. I have in fact, I'll save this for a Friday show because we're going a little long here. I've got the list of the top 100 TV shows of all time.
All right.
And I'll bet you can guess probably I missed a bunch of, in the top 5, I think I got 2 out of the 5. And I was very surprised, but some that were way down the bottom. But I'll do that on Friday. Let's see, a couple of birthday things. Janine Garofalo is 58. You know, she used to be hot. I remember
she was cute.
She was cute and funny, and then she got real mean. All of it, you know. She
went total woke and just became a bitch.
Is she a lesbian or just?
No, I think she's
angry?
just bitter.
I think, but I remember her being hot. I remember she was so cute, and I thought, I liked her attitude. She was kind of funny.
The brink of stardom.
Yeah.
And didn't get over the hump, and I think that's made her very bitter.
Yeah. But what was it? She was in the movie with that funny-looking blonde with the ugly feet who was in Kill Bill.
Cameron Diaz?
No, the other one. Kill Bill.
Uma
Thurman. And
about
she was
the
about the dogs. Who loves dogs?
And the
cats.
best thing she ever did was the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, absolutely. She was great as a member of the staff. Anyway, Janine is 58. Mira Sorvino is 55. You know, she graduated magna cum laude from Harvard. Did you know that?
She's pretty smart.
She won an Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite. which I never saw.
I never saw
don't
that
think anybody ever saw that, but she won an Oscar for it. Amira's 55. Naomi Watts, I like her, 54. King Kong, Eastern Promises. Man, that's a hard movie. But it's a great movie. Hilary Duff, former Lizzie McGuire, is 35, and I think she's still doing something in broadcasting on a show on Netflix, something or other. If you have never heard the name Brigitte Bardot, Google her. Brigitte Bardot is 88 today, but when I was growing up as a kid, she was the first sex kitten that I remember ever being talked about in public. She was the sex kitten, French Brigitte Bardot. Now she's a huge animal rights activist, has been her whole life. She was so sexy. And God bless her. Jeffrey Jones, 76 today, a registered sex offender for life. In fact, he just got accused of not re-registering every year. Jeffrey Jones was, of course, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He played
great actor.
He's a great actor,
Funny guy.
and that was one of the greatest roles ever too. I mean, his everything he did in it was perfect.
You talking about Ferris Bueller's?
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's
and
Day
Amadeus?
Off. And Amadeus, he played the prince or the duke or whatever it was.
king,
The
wasn't
king.
it?
Well, I don't think it was the king. I think it was whatever the big shot royal guy was, and he was great. I mean, he's a really great actor, but he was a pervert who got arrested for hiring a 14-year-old boy to pose nude for him, and they caught him with child pornography. There was no indication that he ever had sex with a kid, but he was a fan of child porn and hired a 14-year-old to pose naked for him. By the way, when he was arrested for that, Pee Wee Herman had been arrested just the week before for his...
Good timing.
Yeah, good timing. Anyway, Jeffrey Jones is 76 today. Siri Pak, the famous Asian golfer, Hall of Fame golfer, 45, a women's golfer. Moon Unit Zappa is 55, a sister to Dweezil and Ahmet Zappa. Nick Nicholas is 79. You may not know Nick Nicholas, but see if you agree with this comment from one of the historical guys. Nick Nicholas is 79 years old, one of the founders of Steppenwolf, and their hit single, Born to be Wild, is called the first heavy metal song.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not sure I don't really know enough about heavy metal, but they're saying here that you could call it the first heavy metal song.
Yeah, I never considered Led Zeppelin heavy metal, but people do.
Yeah, that's why
know.
I'm really not kind of in the bailiwick. Now, speaking of music, Flounder, if you got the little musical interlude that we could get for us here momentarily, if you could play this, I will then tell you why.
Well,
we're
Flounder's
playing it.
looking for that.
Hold on a second.
This. Oh, okay, go ahead. I've never been this ready before.
Well, of course, I have it all ready.
Here we go.
We need constants in our lives, and this is.
Yes, Alan Johnston has died in 1995. He was with the Marcells, known for the incredible lyric "Bom ba ba bom ba bom ba bom bom for dang a ding ding va ding a dong ding."
You have to sing to that. You
Yeah.
have to sing it every
I
time
know.
it's on. I have it on my phone.
And you can't help it. I mean, imagine writing those words. That was Alan Johnston. Died
Everybody
on this.
has a bass voice when they sing that song.
Bom ba bom bom ba dang a dang dang for ding a dong ding blue moon. He died on this day in 1995. It was a gold record, by the way, for the Marcells.
Yeah.
1991, "Ropin' the Wind" by Garth Brooks became the first country album to debut at #1 on the pop charts, as well as #1 on the Billboard country charts. I had no idea.
Yeah, Chris Gaines.
What's that?
That was, remember he tried to be a pop star?
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot that name. Oh my God.
And he had a little beard thing
Oh.
and long hair.
Is he still married to that girl?
He's still married. In fact, him and Trisha
Yearwood,
Yearwood
yeah.
just gave a car to the Carters.
Oh, Jimmy!
you
Oh,
see
they gave. Well, they went. Jimmy Carter had a celebration of whatever it was, and he of his anniversary.
His
And
mediocrity?
He and Rosalind got married, and their wedding day, and they drove away in a 1947 Chrysler convertible or something. So Trisha Yearwood and Garth bought them a revamped, restored 47 or 46, whatever it was, convertible. In fact,
I can find better use for my money if I'm a millionaire.
well, back when I was married to my starter wife, and I was starting to make some money, I bought a 1947 Lincoln Mark I, the first car after World War II. It was a huge, like an old mafia staff car, and it was a V12. It had a special clutch that didn't you'd have to go on all the way down. It had embraided cord hand holder ropes that came down from people sitting in the back seat. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I got a banker sold it to me, and I trusted him, and he lied to me. It had been caught in a flood, and it was completely the inside of. I paid good money for it, and when I finally realized it was a piece of crap, it didn't run worth a damn, and it had been rotted out from the inside. I had to replace all the upholstery, and finally sold it and lost a shitload of money.
Kimmer,
Story of my life.
at what point in your life
Every car story I have,
do you
I
get
got
somebody
screwed.
else to pay to
I know.
deal with
I'm
your
sorry.
car stuff?
I know. Every freaking
Every
time.
time.
And it was a banker.
Every time
Every
you've
time.
told a car story, you've been screwed.
Every time. 1996, Tiny Tim was strumming his ukulele at one of his Massachusetts concerts. In 1996, on this day, when he collapsed on stage from a heart attack. The doctor said, Tim, baby, no more. You can't do it. It's too much stress. You got to stop this performing and going on. He said, you just have to stop your career. He said, no, I'll be fine. A few weeks later, he was on stage playing his ukulele and dropped dead.
Well,
Just like they told him.
worse
But he
things
died
to
doing
do.
what he always wanted, gasping for breath, I guess. Sorry. When I was dying of a heart attack, I promise you it was no fun.
No, that's not what you want.
How did I live? I mean, really, it doesn't make any sense. There
There are still people to make money off you on cars.
I got more cars to buy.
You have a purpose in life.
And speaking of music, 2002, a poll by VH1 and 75,000 music fans in 2002 listed the greatest female singer of all time. 2002, greatest female singer of all time. Critics were ticked off. Kylie Minogue, is that how you pronounce it? Kylie Minogue was number 2. Diana Ross was number 12. Annie Lennox is number 14. And the number 1 greatest female singer of all time in 2002, Madonna, according to VH1.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I've only mentioned a few.
And if you're going to do that, you either have to go either Aretha Franklin.
Well, you got to go back to Della Ree. I mean, you could go back to
Maria Callas.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean,
and people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
what was the other one that was
Joan
huge?
Sutherland? I mean, who was the big fat blonde opera singer who was on
yeah,
Johnny
no,
Carson all
Beverly
the time?
Sills.
Beverly Sills.
But there was another one. Edith Piaf was supposed to be something
I don't
too.
know.
Yeah, she was back then.
Yeah. Anyway, it was another thing. In 2009, Lucy Vaden died at the age of 46. Lucy Vaden had the autoimmune disease lupus. She was a classmate of Julian Lennon, John's son. And one day, Julian came home from nursery school with a drawing he had made called Lucy after her. The drawing showed a girl in the sky surrounded by diamonds.
Sure.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds
Sure.
was written
Yeah, that's
by
much
John
fun.
Lennon after the son Julian brought home the. You don't think
Drugs
that's
had absolutely nothing to do with that.
LSD
You're absolutely right.
is Lucy
I'm
in the
sorry.
Sky with Diamonds.
I'm throwing the
so-
bullshit flag on that one, John.
LSD, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's like Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about a dragon, I'm pretty sure.
Destroying your childhood memories. Brought to you by FarmhousePrintingCo.com. Printing custom shirts and hats and signs, promotional items since 1884. No minimum order, no setup fees. You order one, you order 1,000. Kimmer Show T-shirts. Holy crap! It's sports T-shirts now with laser engraving. They can really get it in
They
there
do a
deep with that
beautiful
laser
job.
engraving.
Beautiful job.
And you got a picture you want on a T-shirt, they'll do it for you too. Business cards, signs, whatever. You're running for office, they'll do it.
Yep.
FarmhousePrintingCo.com. We got some sad news here that's broke.
Oh, no.
Katie Couric says she's been diagnosed with breast cancer.
I'll be darned.
And didn't her husband die of...
Yeah. died of colon cancer, and she got her colon checked on TV live. When it's a Moon River.
So I'm not a big Katie Couric fan, but my mother beat breast cancer twice, so I'm not.
Well,
not for
I hope she
to
doesn't
have
die
it.
of breast cancer.
No.
On the other hand, she's a scumbag as a journalist. She
I know.
deliberately lied about Supreme Court Justice Ruth Darth Vader Ginsburg to try to protect the reputation of liberals. I mean, Katie Couric is a scumbag as a reporter journalist.
But you don't want her to die.
But I don't want her to die of breast cancer, just for the record. And she was sexy and when she wore those little sexy little skirts and little high heels. She has very sexy look about her.
We wouldn't be against maybe hit by a bus.
Well, no, I mean, I hope she is a failure and loses her house, but not that she has breast cancer. 1918. The worst flu epidemic in world history on this day was announced as 1918, the worst one, killing 30 million people worldwide. It was called the Spanish flu because that's where it started killing people. Anyway.
Okay, if I'm Spain, I'm suing. Because how come China got off the hook?
Right.
The Spanish flu originated where?
In China.
Kansas.
Kansas City. Yeah, it was at a military base.
The American doughboys brought it over to Europe.
Yeah.
And they couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we'd still call it the Spanish flu. 1928, perhaps one of the most important discoveries in medicine started by accident at a lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London. Dr. Alexander Fleming discovered his culture dishes were covered with a fungus that had a strange antibacterial effect on multiple organisms. It was the starting block for modern-day antibiotics, the discovery of penicillin.
Probably saved my life. I had to take penicillin when I was a kid for like 9 years. Every day.
Really? Well, I forgot what you told me that once. I forgot what it was.
I had
was it a heart thing? You had a heart thing.
Bicuspid aortic valve. They didn't know if it was rheumatic fever or I was born with it. So to make sure I didn't get any fever again, I was on that. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They only did that in the 60s.
Oh, believe
70s.
me, penicillin was a lifesaver for my generation.
And I tell you what, if I got a cut or something like that, it healed up in like a day.
Yeah,
it was
or you
amazing.
Get the clap from some hooker, penicillin, baby.
That was the last time I took it.
That was the last time I
chlamydia. You don't want that letter from your girlfriend in California who says,
just
by the way,
inform you on a list of people.
That's not a letter you like to read.
No,
and then you find yourself at the free clinic over at the Cab General at the free clinic.
Yeah, you got to explain to them.
This is the worst day of my life.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
They said, here's your bottle, take it, go home.
Oh, boy. And speaking of medical type stuff, in 1963, the same day as it was in 28, a huge undertaking began in the fight against polio. The Sabin oral polio vaccine, which is taken in a sugar cube, was to be given out for the entire country. Everybody got a sugar cube with a polio vaccine in it. It has to be refrigerated before use, and it requires 6 full doses for full immunization. Can you imagine how they pulled this off for everybody to get it? It was an amazing undertaking in 1963.
Well, they changed it pretty quick because we got the shot in the 60s.
Yeah, but 63 was the sugar cube business. Anyway. 1968, the Beatles hit a single with Hey Jude. Goes to the top of the charts, more than 7 minutes long, the longest song ever to hit '1, and I think that is still the record.
Okay.
What?
Not that we're just going long, and I think he's falling asleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm almost done, I swear to God. 1978, Pope John Paul I dies of a heart attack 33 days after elected pontiff. It was shortly after hearing Hillary Rodham P. Stinky Fart Cabbage's confession, and she was afraid he might tell somebody, so she apparently had him killed.
What year was this?
1978. That was Whitewater.
This was the year I was staying at my grandparents' house in Mississippi, and the second Pope funeral in a month was going on, and my grandmother was just going nuts. She was making a cake or something, and under her breath, he's just a man. He's no better than anybody else. He's just a man. Look at all this money they're wasting.
He used to pull some girl's ponytail in the 4th grade, you know.
I was just
he used to pick his nose.
I was just sitting there laughing. Her Southern Baptist came totally out the whole time.
1781, American Revolutionary soldiers backed by a French fleet begin their successful siege of Yorktown, Virginia. Yeah. It was 7 years to the day, 1787, the Congress of the Confederation voted to send the just completed Constitution of the United States to all the state legislatures for approval. Today, of course, the Democrats used the Nazis and Stasi terrorists, Stasi's, the FBI squad to round up conservatives instead of, going to the states. 1960, Boston Red Sox legend Ted Williams comes to bat for the last time in his baseball career at Fenway Park, 1960. His last at bat, son of a bitch hits a home run. Ted Williams. And Boston beats the Orioles 5-4. And I don't think even then he took a bow. He
refused to wave his cap.
He would never come out for to applause of the audience.
He did years later. He came back for the All-Star game and he tipped the cap.
Yeah, but that was the joke that he had never done it.
And
to
what
the
was
crowd.
it? John Updike who wrote the thing about why he didn't tip his cap. He said, "Gods do not answer letters."
Yeah, he, by the way, was also something of a Marine war hero. He was a fighter pilot and volunteered and stayed there for
Crash-landed his
years.
planes.
Yeah, I mean, he spent 3 years in the war and still was Ted Williams. Yeah. Can you imagine what if he had been playing the whole time?
I think he would hit 800 homers.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
And one more. 1955, for the first time, the World Series was televised in color. 1955, the Yankees beat the Dodgers in Game 1, 6-5. And a quick sports thing, Holy Crap at Sports later on today. Browns defensive end Myles Garrett released from the hospital after flipping over his Porsche at a rural road. He had somebody else in the car with him. He flipped it. His Porsche didn't break any bones and had to go to medical care at the hospital.
Porsches don't have bones.
It flipped it over several times. No suspected alcohol or drug impairment.
And
so he must have been speeding.
They walked away. And they with minor
Porsches
injuries.
are great cars. I mean,
they are great.
Porsches are mechanically, you can't beat the handling in front of a Porsche. And one last thing, the Celtics are going to honor Bill Russell and retire his number 6 jersey, and so is the NBA. The NBA is saying no more number 6. If you have one at the moment, you can keep wearing it, but no more number 6 for Bill Russell, which I thought was kind of nice. And what's that? And former Georgia basketball star Anthony Edwards has issued an apology for talking about queers in a derogatory way. Then he has apologized. So anyway, there's your sports section.
Thank you very much.
All right, what else we got going?
Batex Theater, you ready over there,
we go.
Flounder?
I'm sorry, I was very
That's
long
okay.
today. So
We'll
sorry.
give the people what they want. They want more. We're going to do the one on that's the guys in the stuck in the small room together. You see that one? It's blue. It's right after the one we said about 10 drinks tomorrow is too many.
Where am I? Hold on real quick.
They're in an elevator. I'll give you a hint there. It's a 2-liner. 3-liner, actually.
And while he mentions that, I'm going to put some audio or video on Facebook of Brady's handling of his birthday with Wilson getting his new chew toy that I sent him and other things.
By the way, Cindy says she has an air fryer she'll give you if you want. So.
The last one I have is the elevator.
That's it. That's
the one I was
why I
in the
mentioned elevator.
Hence the word.
There's a guy and a second guy. Which one do you want to be?
I'll be the second guy.
All right, I'll be the first guy, which means I will speak first.
And cueing.
I'm not a fan of elevator music.
Why not?
It's bad on so many levels.
That's why farting in an elevator is bad on so many levels.
Oh, okay. Are you saying we've done that before? All right, let's do the next one. The guy and the girl.
The bird? All right, yeah.
All right, you the guy or the girl?
I'll be the guy.
All right.
I'm an expert at identifying birds.
Okay. What about those ones flying over that tree?
Yep, they're all birds.
I told you so. All right, boys. Final thoughts as we go again.
Pig in a blanket tonight.
Pig in a blanket. I'm going to get some hot dogs on the way home and use my biscuit instead of my.
You'll probably like your crescents better. That's the way you are.
I'll bet I
fancy
like the biscuits
schmancy.
better because I'm going to make them the way I want and kind of fold them over in a full roll instead of just.
Because you're a man.
Because I'm a man. Damn it. Look out, I gotta go, you're killing me. Hoorah, Semper Fi. We do it all again another day. And Holy Crap at Sports coming up later. Flounder and the Kitty Cat, more video. It's all coming up. Hoorah and herp, look out.